Welcome back, fight fans, to the Shoutout Fight Podcast. How is everybody doing today? It is Friday, December 29th here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and what is soon to be a Happy New Year. I will try to get this podcast out before the New Year. Of course I will. Easily I will. All right, guys. So again, this is another podcast. We just did one 2 days ago that just came out today. We did it on Boxing Day at Wolf House MMA with Jeet Mahalia up in Edmonton. Because I had Christmas up there, I'm sorry. So I thought I'd bring my gear and see who was around. And, of course, I got those gym nerds. In the meantime, this one, we got Michael Fitzpatrick, Michael the Spartan Fitzpatrick out of Spartan Striking Academy in Markham and Brampton, Ontario. And multi-time Muay Thai champ, fighter, traveled the world, traveling fights in Thailand, and just all over the place. So Michael Fitzpatrick's also the promoter of Rise of the Warrior Fight Night and will be the Eastern representative of the East Canada representative of the Muay Thai World Cup. And he's got an event coming up January 27th, which once again I get to commentate. So I'm really excited about that. He's blown it up, making it way bigger, title fights and all kinds of cool things. However, before we get there, if you're enjoying the most, what do I call this? The best but least professional fight podcast out there. Do me a quick, for example, tripping over my own words there. Do me a quick favor if you could just take one finger and easily click like on any of your social medias. If you want to take it one step further, you could share the podcast with a friend, family, or foe. All you have to do is start with share the podcast, maybe with a foe. They become a friend. Then they become family. Who knows? But it all starts with making sure that you share the Shoutout Fight podcast. And in the words of my man B Kong, only the real ones subscribe. So do me a favor and be a real one and make sure you subscribe to the Shoutout Podcast. Also, we're a 5-star podcast, guys. I'm not sure if anybody told you any different. They told you dead wrong. This is a 5-star podcast. So if you want to go ahead again, Spotify, YouTube, whatever, all your finger pointing things where you can rate me, just all the way to the right, hit me with a 5 stars. You had a good day post-Christmas. You did something. I'll receive that post-Christmas. Yes. And we both move on with a good day, and everything's right in the universe. Now, listen, guys, I'm raw dogging this intro today. I'm just at home in my little at-home podcast studio, so I don't have a lot of fighty friends in this one or shout-outs, just because I usually write them down. I don't want to sit here and think off the top of my head. But, yeah, Michael Fitzpatrick fought my man, Chris McMillan, at the Muay Thai World Cup #1 just before COVID. So I think that was like 2018 or 18, I think. And, man, just been making moves since. Taking fights, fighters, opening gyms, traveling the planet. And now, like we talked about, the man promoting the big fights out in Eastern Canada. So although I've got to know Michael a little bit over the last little while, it's been a pleasure to get to know him and then finally sit down and actually talk to him. Again, I mention this all the time. This has to be one of the best things of the podcast. I know most of these people, but I don't really know them, right? So in this case, we get a 2-hour talk to get to know Michael Fitzpatrick and what he thinks of the people in his past life and around him. He's pretty candid about, obviously we know about his public fight, social media fight with Jake McKenzie, which he brings up and some schools, and just wanted to clear some air from his side of some things. Hey, man, this perfect. Love doing it. This is what the podcast is for. And other than that, just talking about the scene in Ontario and what we can expect from his promotion coming up. And, man, just big things and a big fight that he hasn't told me yet, April 20th here in Calgary. I have some suspicions, but I'm not 100% sure. But in the meantime, yeah, man, great long podcast. What a great way to spend some time in between Christmas and New Year's. And listen, I'm going to stop blabbing. You guys got enough to listen to. We had a 2-hour conversation here. So since you got time before the New Year and maybe even a squeak after that before work and school restarts again, hopefully I can take 2 hours of your time and talk about fights. All right, guys. I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. And please remember, please make sure you send me your picks for Fight of the Year, Fighter of the Year, KO of the Year, and Breakout Fighter of the Year. I don't care what combat sports. It can be boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing. Doesn't matter to me. Send me your choices, and I'll review them all on the first episode in 2024, who our winners are, and I'll give you my picks as well. All right, guys. In the meantime, the Spartan himself, Michael Fitzpatrick. Let's go. Well, welcome, Shadow Fight Podcast. I think you're number 90,
I've been waiting
sir.
for a long time to get on this one, right?
Awesome, man.
That's what we talked about doing this.
That's right. And you know what's funny too, man? I don't know. I'm a simple man. I literally was just sitting on the couch and was like, hey, there's an event coming up. How come I haven't talked to Mike yet? And like, so I just shot you a message right there. Like, dude, why aren't we doing this?
I know, right? Well, it works out. Now we got it, and we can have some fun with this. I'm excited.
There you go, man. So how was Christmas, the Christmas season, all that good stuff?
Christmas was good. I spent it with my little guy. Drove me nuts.
Yeah,
He's got
for sure.
This new obsession with dinosaurs.
Right on.
Dude, I don't know what it is with kids. It's like, I thought fighting was hard, you know? Like, double training sessions a day, 6 days a week. But, man, being a parent is like...
Yeah,
dude,
man.
Life was easy before being a parent. Being a parent is like a whole different job.
I hear you.
I never understood when the parents used to come in my gym and be like, I'm so tired. I'm like, dude, I run a gym. I have to train fighters. I have to train myself. I do this. You guys don't have it that hard. You do it 9 to 5 and come home. Now I'm like, fighting is much easier than being a parent. And sometimes it's questionable.
No kidding, man. Hey, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what's
How about
funny?
yourself?
Oh, it was good, man. It was good. I was just going to say on the same subject. I remember a Simpsons episode like decades ago where the kids went on the bus and they went off to camp. And once the bus was out of sight, all the parents like, yeah, they all celebrate and party. Yeah, and as a kid, you're like, I don't understand. I'm like, oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, now I get it. Now I look back and I be like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you drop your kid off to daycare in the morning, you're like, oh.
Yeah, you can mentally do what you need to do, drop some F-bombs, all that good stuff.
Right? Like, for real. I think that's kind of where everyone goes after all of that. So
that's it, man. But no,
that's good. At least you guys had a good Christmas and everything.
Yeah, you bet. A little bit of traveling. And I got to go up to Sherwood Park and speak to Mahalia.
Nice.
Yeah, Mahalia and Jeet there from Wolf House MMA. So I was pretty happy to get another podcast.
They're good. We were supposed to be on their card too, their last one they did. But Mahalia got injured. She was supposed to fight one of my girls, Janelle, for a WBC title. That's right.
And so I hear that fight's actually coming up too, yeah?
Yeah, sorry. I think you're cutting out. Yeah, so that fight is coming up. Supposed to be, I believe, 1st or 2nd week of March.
Okay,
something
nice.
Like that.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
So we're doing it on their next promotion. You know, Karen's getting around with all the WBC stuff.
Sure.
You know, a little bit. Gotta let other promotions have some fun with it too, not just us, you know? So
there you go. And both ladies, matter of fact, were also involved. They were in the last Rise of the Warrior in the 4 women's tournament, correct?
Yeah, they were. So that event was kind of crazy how the 4 women event transpired. To be honest, I thought it was going to be Malia and my girl in the finals.
Yeah.
I didn't think Oliver was going to beat Malia.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of people have iffy opinions on how that decision went.
Okay.
But I feel like it's also the rule set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like coming from like pure Muay Thai to a K1 rule set, you have to adapt. Like, and I know as a coach, I'm sure you can understand this. Like, the scoring is so different, but it's similar in the sense
that's right.
It can kind of be compared. But if you're not throwing with volume and you're not landing more on your output and the shots are clean, you're not scoring.
That's it.
So I think that was the difference between their fight, because I watched it myself over after obviously hearing a lot of opinions from different people. And scoring it based, I don't disagree with the decision, but I could see how someone could view it the opposite based on what landed, because I saw how many head kicks Malia landed and the bigger shots, and it's questionable. I
didn't realize, like, not knocking anyone at all, but I didn't realize people thought Mahalia won. It was just a good close fight, but I thought Oliver clearly won.
Wow. So you're one of the only first people I've heard that from.
Really?
I heard from, well, obviously Kieran. Kieran's always going to be pro Alberta, right?
Sure.
So anytime, like, even when we fight him, my God, man, every time if we lose to him, he walks up to me, he taps me on the shoulder, and he does this.
Yeah.
Last event when I went up with Max and all them, and Danilo fought Sean.
Yep.
After I lost to him, he walks up to me and he goes,
Yeah.
He's like, how many times we beat you now?
Just going to rub it in, eh?
Dude, I get bullied. People think it's fun working for the boss, you know? Sometimes you get harassed.
It is until you're in the opposite corner.
Right? Like,
God damn it, you gotta win.
Even at Rise, it was funny. I think it was you and one of my other guys that are ringside. It was Taylor, MMA journal. He got it on video where Sean tripped Danilo and like did an MMA slam.
Yeah.
And Kieran's sitting on the other side being like, he's done. He's not going to get up, this and that. So I'm yelling at Danilo to get up. Mind you, had I not done that, Danilo would have won by disqualification and we would have beat him.
Right.
So Kieran played to my ego.
Nice.
And got me to yell at Danilo to get up. And then I'm sitting in the other corner at Kieran going like this to him. And after the fight, Sean won on points. And he was like, no, you almost got one over me there. He's like, I'm glad that your ego played a good part in this.
Nice. Yeah. Hey.
So,
yeah.
what are you gonna do?
I remember as I was commentating there, I was looking at both of you guys in the corner, beaking at each other. I thought that was awesome.
I mean, coach and student vibes are always fun, right?
Sure,
You gotta enjoy it when you can. Plus,
right.
me and him, like, if our guys fight, like, we understand the business side of it.
That's
right.
right.
Like, I don't agree with gyms that are mutual friends and stuff not letting each other fight. Like, even one of my, like, the junior promoters for Rise for the kids event, David Crowley, even our kids fight each other and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things, experience you need, right?
Yep.
Like, even going back to me and Chris, right? Like, Chris and I have a lot of fights.
Yep.
Compared to a lot of the other Canadians that have been around even in the pro scene.
Yep, that's true.
And, like, that's coming truthfully to just take fights and fight as much as you can, right?
Yep. So. Yeah, that's how we saw it too. Like, I know a lot of people have the thing where, like, we don't pay for flight and we don't pay for hotel. I understand. Well, we will. And we want to fight and we want the experiences. So we'll pay. Let's go. You know?
Well, and that was the thing, right? Like, see, I see with certain promotions, depending on the person too, like, and again, it makes me sound really bad saying what I'm trying to say, and it's not to come off that way, but it's, I work with people who I know will work with us.
Yep, for sure.
Right? Like, I go a little bit above and beyond to help out. Like, I'll use an example, WTM. Like, Albert there sent me a couple of guys, and one of his guys could honestly not afford the flight.
Yep.
The flight cost me $150.
Right.
So I paid for it. Because I needed a good fight out of it, and the guy he sent me I knew would come and bring the heat, and he did, and he sold pay-per-view and stuff too, so nice. I really got reimbursed for what I spent, right?
That's right.
Same thing like with Rise 4 coming up. I paid for Chris's ticket to come out here.
Yep.
Because he's doing me a favor bringing me a couple fighters, right?
Couple good fights on both ends there, man.
Some good fights. Oh man, I'm excited. We're gonna have some big fights to come up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really good. I think with Tyson and Hussein is gonna be a banger.
Ooh-wee. Yeah.
A really good fight. Like, I can't lie. Like, it could go either way, and that's what makes it exciting. Because you go back to me and Chris being the first two to fight for a WBC title.
That's it.
You know, and I went to his hometown,
and it was pretty hot, man. You know, it was pretty contested online, and you know, there was a little back and forth. It was a good build up.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was a good fight, and you know what? We had a lot of people talking between our fights, so. You know, there was a lot of buildup, and it did what exactly it expected, which was a complete war, right?
Yep.
I think even with these two kids, like, it's the same thing now, and the roles reversed. Now we're letting our students fight each other, and they're going for the spot. And now you got friggin' Tyson's flying out with Chris to come to Toronto to fight us.
That's it, man.
And it's like, it's deja vu, right?
That's it.
Who would have thought back in 2019 we'd be where we are now? Certain things.
Yeah. No worries, man. Yeah, it's and how fast it happens. Hey, it's amazing.
And it's crazy because you said this to me before my kid was here too. So we had this chat, and I was talking to you about how, like, I admire that you're such a great father, right, with your son. So
appreciated, by the way.
I'm gonna fly this so quickly, and it's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Everything you said has been right to the point there.
Yeah. Hey, just trying to keep as I've been telling everybody, my life's well, and man, yours is even faster. But I just think of it as like I'm on a train going downhill on the tracks. The brakes are gone, and somehow this thing's staying on.
And that's the reality. Like, you know, it's crazy. From like winning a WBC title like 2.5 years ago, to where my life was then to where I'm at now is like you said, it's just a train going downhill with no brakes. And
that's
you just don't know if up or if it's gonna come to a halt or if it's just gonna keep going downhill until something crashes, right?
In the meantime, let's have it, man. Let's roll that train.
That's the thing. Running with it too, right? Like, and I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to live in the moment for it more rather than not pay attention to the good things coming by. Like going from fighting to promoting has been a crazy journey. I can't lie.
Yeah,
a lot of adaptation and dealing with people you don't like to deal with, but you have to because of business.
That's it.
And, you know, sometimes you got to be the happy, smiley person when even though you probably really secretly want to punch them in the face.
Sure. Business.
You can't do it. Yeah, trust me. There's a lot of those moments, you know. So It's
I believe
funny
it.
though. We go through it all the time. Like I laugh with Kyrian every time I make a matchup in some gyms that he sees me deal. It goes, I know you don't like those guys. I'm like, no, I really don't. But you know, they bring good fighters and
That's it.
things work.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
If everyone's willing to be on the business side of it, you get to put the personal on the side for a little bit.
and I think that's the biggest key thing I had to learn too. And it's a good adaptation for me as well, because it allows me to pull myself out of a position personally with someone that shouldn't, like, you know, animosity in our sport's inevitable, bro. A lot of people with fighting have egos and stuff, and it's normal. Like even myself, you know, I want to be the best. I want this. I want that. Everybody wants to be that guy that gets the respect for it, right?
Of course.
And I think when you have people that are both headstrong, they clash, right?
Yep.
So a lot of times that will be a thing. But now with me taking an approach towards the promoting side, I've actually been able to mend relationships with people that may have had past problems with me because of other people from other issues. So
that's a skill on its own, man.
Yeah, it's opened a lot of doors. Like even for me, like my old coach from a long time ago that I had a really bad falling out with. Like we're talking back in 2017, from years ago. I had one of his guys on the card that you guys flown out to. Not everything went according to plan in terms of that mending of the relationship, but business-wise, we kept it business, right?
Perfect.
And sometimes that alone right there is a step forward in and of itself.
Agreed. Yep, agreed.
So things like that, you know?
That's it, man. That's it. What well, let's talk about kind of, before we get into the promoting, what's happening nowadays. Let's talk about your introduction to martial arts, Muay Thai. I've talked to your mom obviously a few times now, and I mean she lets it in a little bit on a pretty unique story about getting into like how early you went to Thailand and Muay Thai and everything. Yeah, man. I'm just wondering if you can let us in on why Muay Thai, where that came from, and the obviously extreme passion you still carry.
Yeah, so definitely I can get into all that. And yes, extreme passion is definitely a thing because I already have a fight booked.
So, you do?
Oh, just wait till, you know, like I tell everybody, I want to walk away, and then I have somebody who puts his hand on my shoulder and goes, "Oh, my boy, it's not your time yet. You can keep trying, but I'm not letting you go." So, like, we'll get into what fight I just booked, because when I tell you, you're going to be like, I'm not even surprised that you're doing this, because the nature of the fight is why I took it. And it's not the person I wanted to fight, because the person I wanted to fight for the fourth time now has denied wanting to fight me. Gotcha. And we'll get into that.
Sounds good.
That's where the ego side of me will come out for him, right? But yeah, so basically, like my martial arts journey, I started training martial arts. Believe it or not, not many people actually know this, I started Taekwondo first.
Is that right?
I started Taekwondo at 6 years old.
6?
Yeah, so I was into like old school traditional stuff like karate, Taekwondo when I was a little kid.
Sure.
So I did that for about 2.5, 3 years. And then when I got to about 9, I started MMA and Muay Thai. So from there, I went on training MMA for about 2.5 years till I was about 11.
Oh, okay.
I really fell in love with just striking. I don't know what it was about punching somebody in the face. I kind of enjoyed it.
I hear you.
And, I came really rough upbringing. I was living in the projects and stuff like that. You know, I had a single mom.
In the area you are now, like Toronto area?
Where I am today. Yeah, I lived in grew up. So my parents got divorced. My mom was a single mom. You know, I grew up in like the projects. So I had to be a child that was in a single family home that came from, you know, 8,000 square foot home down to living in a 3-bedroom townhouse because my parents split up and, you know, divorce, and a lot of bad things just took place. Right.
Okay, yeah.
So I had a really rough childhood coming up, and then now moving to the ghetto projects, what you want to call it. I grew up in a really rough neighborhood. I got involved with gangs, the whole works, you name it. Wow. I was a very troubled kid, believe it or not. My mom used to have a really hard time. So when my parents split, I actually stopped martial arts for about 6 months.
Okay.
When we saw the increase of me getting into serious troubles. Like I was getting suspended at school every other week.
Okay.
Dealing with obviously life problems, parents divorce, all the fun stuff, right? So I went through a really rough patch. And then I met my first real Thai trainer, Hovig, which you met him at the fight event. I was actually looking at him while I was giving the retirement speech, and I was talking to him.
Gotcha.
Pretty much thanking him for changing my life, because I almost got killed when I was a kid, and he saved me. Yeah, like legitimately saved me.
Wow.
That's a story for another day though. But came in and changed my life, all that stuff, taught me Muay Thai, made me fall in love with the sport. And then I went to Tiger Muay Thai for my first Thailand trip at 12 years old by myself.
Madness,
So this
bro.
is where
Madness.
craziness, chaos, and all the fun begins. So I remember he got a phone call from my mom.
Wait. How do you decide, or anybody, your mom, to like, bro, you're gonna go to live on the other side of the planet? Like,
so we'll get to that.
Okay.
This is where the part goes. So I was talking to him about being like, look, I want to fight, this, that. So we have this thing that, and I'm sure you guys have it, and like there's different words, everybody use it, like smokers, scrimmages,
interclub,
interclub. Yep. So interclub, I've only heard that name from the UK, which really came from Kieran, because I used to be like, yeah, these guys have smokers and demos. He's like, smokers and demos, what are you talking about? He's like, you mean interclub? I'm like, I haven't heard that word either. So like, everyone has a different like term for it.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of those from the age of 10 till I was 12. I had about almost, I want to say 15 or 20 interclub fights.
Wow. Okay.
And then back then. So back then to get those type of fights was very, very hard.
Yeah.
Because coaches like the guy Mikey Perez, who really took me from my career from amateur to pro.
Southside Muay Thai, shout out to them.
Yeah. I mean, like things went left. We'll get to that as well. But Mikey had me for a very long time. Before I got to him, I had 15 in-house fights already.
Okay.
So I already had a lot of experience going with the smokers and stuff, right? But leading up to even that, I was 12 years old, went to Thailand to Tiger Muay Thai. I was looking online, watching fights. Like every martial arts nerd, you go on YouTube, Muay Thai fights.
Mm-hmm.
So first thing I saw was a fighter named Saksurin Kidiat Yongyut.
Okay.
So Saksurin's fought guys like Jay Tonkin, all the big names from like Australia and stuff like that.
Guy's a madman.
Very respected Thai fighter. He's got over 250 fights. He's got an Omnoy title, Channel 7, a few of the big name titles.
Okay.
Followed this guy and started watching his fights for quite a while, a couple months. Then I found out he was teaching at Tiger Muay Thai. So I went to my mom. I just turned 12 years old. I'm like, my mom's always known me as a crazy kid. Like the stuff I was involved with from 12 till I was 16, like with gang affiliations and everything, like you wouldn't believe it. I was living at like 14 years old, like I was 25, 30. It was crazy.
Wow.
And I did a lot of stuff that people to this day still can't even fathom when I tell stories of what I've seen and been through and like things I've done and crazy stuff, which we'll get to that fun parts. But at 12 years old, I went to my mom and I'm like, look, I want to do this. Like, you never got experiences yourself as a child getting to travel. Can I do this? And my mom was like, I'm full support of it. Let's do it.
Cool.
At first, my mom didn't think this one through. So she obviously 2 weeks later, when we revisited going to buy the ticket for like Thailand, was like, am I really letting my 12-year-old son go?
Shit got real.
Yeah, because she thought I was like, just talking about it, wasn't being serious, but I was like fully diehard ready to go.
Yeah.
So she coach at the time, and he's like, there's no way in hell we're putting him on a plane. He's not doing that. You know how much pedophilia and stuff happens out there. He's 12. My mom's like, look, he looks like he's 18 years old. He doesn't look like he's 12. Like, you can let him go. He's fine.
All right.
So anyways,
wow.
Bottom tooth and nail. I ended up going to Thailand. I went to Tiger. I went for about 2.5 months. On my second month there, I got kicked by my trainer, Saksurin, who I was training with. His toenail happened to be like cut, and it scratched my side of my ribs.
Ooh.
I got a staph infection, ended up in the hospital there. And I got shipped home on an emergency flight for a surgery. What? And I was out of fighting for almost 4 months, sitting bedridden with like IV bags and stuff attached to me because I almost died.
What?
So that's at 12 years old. So that was my first trip.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Take in a mom halfway across the world, gets a phone call from my doctor in the middle of Thailand going, yeah, you're stuck in the hospital. He's hospitalized here. He's been in the hospital for 4 days. He's got severe infection. We have to put him in emergency surgery, or you got to take him back to Canada and get him in emergency surgery. He's going to die. So my mom's having a full-out blown heart attack.
Obviously.
I get on the next flight home. Everything's fine. I get there, did the surgery. All the stuff was good. And then after I recovered, I went to my mom again, and I'm like, so when am I going back? She's like, you're not going back. I'm like, no, I got to go back. Like, I didn't get to finish my trip.
Right.
And I want to fight, do stuff. And I watched. So I have a photo I posted. So all the belts I've collected in my career, my WBC title, my MTBSA World title, the two, now 3, because I have 3 in multiple weight classes, the stadium titles, because I have all the stadium titles throughout northern Thailand and southern Thailand. So now, like, I can go challenge for a Lumpini belt, a Raj Demnon title, Omnoy, Channel 7, all that stuff if I really wanted to.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, I've already quested for a Lumpini title back then, like in 2018, and I lost.
Right.
Which we'll touch base about that soon. I don't want to lose the track of where we are on
I
this
got
one.
you. Yep.
But yeah, so I went to a stadium, and it was Patong Stadium at the time. So I watched one of the trainers fight, and I took a photo of all the belts on the side. And I made a promise to myself that day, before obviously coming home off the infection and stuff, that I was going to come back and win these belts. Little young me, 12 years old, not knowing what pro fighting really entails and all that stuff, and seeing, you know, a guy compete in the ring and everyone cheering was like a dream for me.
Right.
Because I was a 12-year-old troubled kid, and I'm like, what do I want to do with my life, right?
At 12, you're asking these questions. That's madness.
Well, like, the reality was I had to grow up very fast, right? I had to take care of my young. I had to help my mom, you know, with a lot of stuff and pay bills and things like that. At a young age, I had to become a man. I didn't have a choice. So that was kind of the byproduct of that. So then come home, obviously got healed from the infection, and I kept pressuring my mom, I want to go back, I want to go back, I want to go back. So then I got a couple sanctioned fights, got a few, and then I ended up going to another gym. So I was with Revolution MMA, where Hove originally was, when I was about 12.
Okay.
I left that gym. They weren't serious about fighting, but Hove's friend owned a gym called Grant Brothers. Grant Brothers is a very big, famous boxing gym in Toronto.
Yeah, Grant Brothers Boxing, yeah.
Yeah, so RG and Sandro, all those guys are close friends with my close, like, I would say pretty much considered like my dad, Hove.
Okay.
So Hove sent me here to get training, whatever, and not to put out public business because I can't really say too much about certain things, but some business that was not in the gym, that was outside, that I was involved with, was leading into the gym through other things. So I had to physically pull myself out of that gym because of involvement I didn't want to have getting publicly known out in there. So that led me to also, I was in a relationship with a girl for almost 3 years. It was really serious. We were together. We were young, and her family moved her to Scarborough.
What year was this approximately?
Say that again?
What year was this approximately?
2014.
Okay.
So at that point, 2 years later, I had about, before walking into Southside, 15 smokers. I was supposed to have a couple sanctioned at that time. Okay. Then she moved, and I didn't want to break off the relationship. Neither did she. So I had to make a decision, because obviously, you know, with training us, yeah, right. Make decisions for a woman, right? But yeah, so fighting was obviously a primary importance. So I wanted to compete, and I didn't want to lose that, but I also didn't want to lose the relationship. So I had met Mikey from Southside at an event that was held in Brantford. I was supposed to fight a kid named Thomas Raby. Okay. Thomas Raby is a very well-respected Ontario fighter. He's got well over 60-something plus fights. Wow, okay. He's got a lot fought in Wulin Fang. He's represented Canada on the team national stuff for a bunch for WACO. Not IFMA, but other organization stuff too. He has a lot of experience. Okay. So I was supposed to fight him for my first sanctioned fight. Nobody told me he had 20 fights. So Mikey met me and was like, I don't want this fight can't happen. Like, this is not fair. Like, it's your first fight is 20 fights. Yeah. So I didn't know Mikey like that, but the way he looked out for me already was like, it already pushed me to go to Scarborough. Oh yeah. It was like something in my life to go there for some reason. Okay. So I made the decision. I walked into his gym about 2 weeks later, and I went up to him and I'm like, look, I want to fight here. I want to train here. I've studied your guys' gym online. You guys are like one of the best. Like, I want to be here. Yep. So I signed with Mike. Little did I know Mike would change my complete life. Like, when I mean change my life, like, I'm talking completely, made me walk away from everything bad I was involved with. And he made me flip my life over, like, within 24 hours. And it was insane. You know, they talk about I'm going to get to that. This is where it gets crazy. So, you know, like how you have your bond with Chris. Like, Chris, pretty much, you guys are like brothers. You guys are like this. If you called Chris in the middle, he'll come running for you. No problem. Same thing, vice versa. And
Correct.
All that.
Correct.
So Mikey was that for me, but I was so young compared to him at the time that it was more like
a big brother
role. I would say dad, not even brother. Wow. Okay. At that point, like, I have love for the guy still to this day. We have really bad animosity for things right now, and it'll take a lot of things to be able to fix that. Wow. Because there's a lot of things bad. between old training partners of mine to things that have been said, and we'll touch that in a bit. But Mike changed my life, and I still tell everybody to this day, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that's a fact. And I mean that truthfully to what it is.
That's a big statement.
100%. And it's earned, truthfully, after the amount of years and time we put in together, regardless whether it was paid for or not, which I did. But I gave him my best and he gave me his. And yeah. I can't say that as a man. You don't thank somebody for that when that time comes. Right?
Damn right.
We met, whatever. I started training. He got me my first fight. I had already been at 15 years old fighting adults. So he's like, you're underage. We can do the junior fights. Why put you in adults first? So he puts me in a couple national tournaments. I ended up racking up like 15 fights with him in the first year that we were together. I only lost one fight. Did really well.
Wow.
And then obviously I was turning 16. So now I was able to start doing the adult stuff if I wanted to, because rules have changed so much over the years with certain organizations.
As a junior, you got 15 fights in 1 year? Wow.
National tournaments for WKF, right?
Yeah.
So WKF, like, and I say this to my students all the time. That's why, like, even my fighter, Hemi, he's got 35 fights.
Bad dude.
Training. He's only been competing for almost 2.5 years, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Alone in 2023, he did almost 16 fights.
That's madness. With my own eyes, watch that guy fight in a 4-man, no gear 4-man, 2 bangers, and then has to smash pads with Kieran the next day. I mean, I witnessed that with my own eyes. That man's a savage.
They don't make guys like him often anymore. Nope. It's very hard, but his dedication to the sport is real, and he loves fighting. Win or lose, he doesn't care, but he stands in front of you, he's going to try and kill you.
Helps he's a nice guy, too. You know, I can cheer for a guy like that, easy.
Yeah, sweetheart. But back to where I was. So I did a lot of fights with Mike, whatever. Me and Mikey got really close. It was almost to the point of, like, I was either with Mikey or I was at work. I was never even really home. I was always training. So after a year of being with Mike, I was still heavily gang affiliated. I got into a lot of trouble. So I've touched base on this about it on MMA Journal before. I got arrested. You know, did something I didn't need to do, but I was protecting somebody I had to, and I had no choice, because if I didn't, they would probably not be here to this day.
It's a lot of pressure.
I had to do something. You know, I regret it. It is what it is, but it also put me in the position I'm in now. So I got charged. I got sentenced, whatever. I went to court. The judge gave me 2 options. Either I do my sentence and go to jail, or I make sure I never come back here ever again.
How long were you talking jail-wise?
5 years.
Ooh. Okay.
I was also underage too. So I would have went from juvie to adult prison right after. 5-year sentence. Charges were steep. I had 6 charges on me. They dropped all of them, and he gave me a second chance. It was my first time being a full offender or anything like that either.
Gotcha.
But the stuff I did, I had no choice. It wasn't whether I wanted to. It was if I didn't do it, somebody else would have not been here anymore.
Is that person still here?
Yeah.
I guarantee that person doesn't regret your decision.
Oh no, they're not in that life anything anymore themselves. And what happened to her was really bad. It kind of ruined a relationship with me and her. But I had no choice but to do it, because if I didn't, things would have went left in other ways.
Understood.
So I had to protect her and do something I didn't want to do, but that happens. It's part of life.
Yes,
and I had to roll with the punches as it came, especially when you got involved in stuff like that. It comes with the nature of that business, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So that outside of it, I got in trouble, whatever. They dropped the charges, and I made a full 24-hour switch and literally just devoted my whole life to fighting. I said, at this point, like, school doesn't matter, friends don't matter, because I'm going to go ghost. I have to completely, like, take myself completely off the face of the earth. Nobody knows where I'm at, and all I'm going to do is train and fight.
Wow.
Because if I want to do it, I can't be in trouble. And like the judge said, I had one more chance. If I come back here, he's going to give me everything under the sun in the book. So
I'll do it.
Here, God got put in, and it worked. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I didn't go back to jail. Sitting in a holding cell was enough for me.
Yeah.
So
good little taste.
You know, not getting the food you want. Yeah, that all already was instilled very quickly. So I didn't have to get a second choice to have to think it through.
All right.
So anyways, going back to Mike, then me and Mikey trained for a very long time. Got a lot of fights. In 2016, I did 22 amateur fights in 1 year.
Wow. 2 a month.
Yeah. 2 a month. Sometimes
That's mad.
3. Once I got injured, and it was the 2016 national tournament, I cracked my left shin.
Ooh.
So I had a huge shin splint that split in the middle of my shin. And I couldn't kick with. So Mike was like, "Why don't you just take the fight off? Like, we'll sit this one." I'm like, "No. We're not sitting this one out. I'm game as it comes. We have shin guards on. It's cloth shin guards. So even if I kicked out everything."
Well, and coaches and fighters have that same thing. Like, yes, it hurts now, but when you're in there, you won't feel it. You know?
I'll be okay. So I iced my leg 20 minutes before we went out to the fight, and I went and fought, and I ended up winning a national title.
There you go.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
By not walking the next 3 days after that.
That's it.
Anyhow, back to it. So 22 fights in 1 year. So I racked up a really big record. Even with demo fights and including, like, if I added my actual demos to everything, I probably have well over 70 amateur fights.
Yeah, man. No kidding.
Well, my actual amateur record as it stands with sanctioned is 45-5. Yeah. That's a lot.
That's wild.
People don't understand that I fought, because a lot of people know me from when I was just with Mikey, right? Okay. A lot of people know that I had other gyms I was with before I was with Mikey fighting. So, and after Mikey, I still took fights too on my own.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my relationship with Mike came to a very abrupt end. Something really tragic happened in his gym with a trainer and one of my family members that led to our relationship being terminated very quickly, which caused a lot of problems with my team, my friends too. Like, I lost out on my teammates. Even to this day. There's some of them that I actually genuinely don't have problems with that think I absolutely hate them.
Sure.
And it's crazy because I could call them up and look, like, we're good. I don't know what your issue is, right?
Right.
Some of them I've reconnected with. Some of them actually left that gym and are working with me now fully.
Nice.
And it's crazy how the tide works. A lot of people made decisions when they saw how the situation unfolded between me and Mike and things that were said and done that they personally didn't agree with. So they decided that to follow me and come out with me. And again, I don't poach people. I don't make you choose where you want to go. I'm cool with everyone, like, until you give me a not to be, which we'll get to that too, because there's something I want to talk about after, which I know you know exactly about. But yeah, so a lot of people left, a lot of people stayed. And that's kind of that. Me and Mike's relationship went left really quickly after that. There was a lot of trash talk in the community, but lawsuits, this, that. And it never happened that way. A lot of things, like, after the situation that took place, I got given a choice by the courts to either make him bankrupt his gym or I take 25 grand from him for what happened because he failed to neglect his responsibilities and fiduciary duties as responsible for a child. Gotcha. But he told people I stole 100 grand from him, which I didn't. And still to this day, I always will clear my name. It's just the fact of what it is, because I don't respect the fact that BS keeps getting circled around. Like, I have every other week, the next 10th person that comes in be like, "Oh, I know you used to be from Southside. You know, I heard this from this person." And I'm like, yeah, that's not what happened, because I have the paperwork. And so does he. So instead of taking his gym from him, which honestly, a lot of people told me I should, I didn't want to ruin his life. I didn't want to take from his kids. Gotcha. Even though, considering what happened to my family member, their life has never been the same since. I, in my right mind, could have and should have, but I didn't, because my relationship with him before was more like, he didn't do it directly, but he also didn't do anything to stop or prevent it, or after the fact, clean up the mess that was made by his people. And with not doing that, puts you in the same ownership and responsibilities of the actions that were done by that person. Yep. In my opinion. I gotcha. Right? Yep. So I think there's a lot of side opinions on that situation that took place, and that's kind of that. But yeah, it's sad. You know, to this day, like, I'll see Mike sometimes at fight events, and he'll wait till nobody's there and come up to give me a hug and say hi and, like, be like, "Oh, I miss having you here. You know, I hope everything's good with you and your family." Like, and, you know, I have love for the guy still to this day. Like, I've seen him at the Pickering Casino a couple of times because we both live in the neighborhood. Nice. And we'll sit there and laugh and have a talk. We take photos, a hug, whatever, go on about our lives. We both know what it is at this point, that sometimes just too much damage has happened. That to fully repair our relationship just won't happen. Sure. Yeah. But if you can reach like, not a compromise, but if you both have that understanding, it's probably a little easier. We tried. Oh, we tried. Okay. So that also led to people leaving his gym and coming to me, because everything I was saying I was doing was factual, and things that were done on the opposing side was not. I was asked to talk to old teammates of mine and make amends with things that I never did anything to them, but I did it anyways out of respect.
Sure.
And the problem came back to him. It was not even them. And they said the same thing. They're like, we don't have issues with you. Like, you were one of our teammates. What are you talking about? So I'm like, okay. And then it came down to sometimes egos are the biggest thing. And, you know,
sure.
I chalk it up to, you know, some people still will hold resentment and grudges, believing that they think they didn't do anything wrong. But inside, they know deep down what they did was also not helping to make it better.
Right.
And that alone is a problem of itself, right?
Yes.
I think if we're talking being a man and admitting faults and taking responsibility for things, you know, I also didn't help the situation. I said a lot of things on social media after the fact because I was really angry. And,
sure,
you know, when you love someone, you think they're family to you, and, you know, you would die to protect them. And then when roles get switched and you don't get the same reciprocation, I feel like you almost take it as disrespect.
Of course you do. Of course you do. It hurts.
Yeah, right. And like a lot of people don't look at it from my view. And I think that people that are in both of our circles that have now gotten both sides of the story kind of look back and go, I see what you mean. I see what you're saying. I see how that didn't play out. And I see how that person didn't do what they said they were going to do and why things unfolded the way they did. Right. Because every action comes a reaction, and every reaction has a consequence or an answer to it. So when that comes full circle, people start to realize why the situation is what it is, right?
Yep, for sure.
However, like I said to you earlier, sometimes personal relationships get set aside so business can be done, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest thing in September was Mike gave one of his fighters to come fight on my card, who's also one of my close friends, George.
Okay.
George fight on the card. He got a first round KO stoppage.
That's right. Yep.
He's a very talented fighter. Mike did a great job training him and all that stuff. And it's crazy because I brought George to Southside. So it comes full circle how things play out, right?
Sure.
And then like me like leaving to go to Southside because of that girl. George's best friend is her brother. So like the whole thing comes full circle.
No kidding, man.
Right? Yeah, my life's crazy. Like when people hear how a lot of this stuff plays out, it's
well, and hopefully as we get a little older, maybe we get a little softer too, you know?
That's what I try, you know, like I don't want to have bad blood with people. I don't need to have grudges. I don't look at it as holding animosity because it takes too much energy to have that.
Damn right.
And with Mike, like I've said this before, I've said this to him myself, like it takes more energy for me to be mad at you for something that happened 7 years ago than it is for me to go, you were young, you were dumb, you made a bad mistake.
Yeah.
I'm your age now when you were that age, and I get it. You didn't have anyone teaching you how to read a manual on life and how to handle situations that come at you. But I also think that as you get older, situations require people to adapt and also take responsibility for things and better themselves too, right?
Of course. Yeah, you would hope. You would hope.
You know, like, and that's a bigger key to it, right? Like, because of my problems with Mike, like a lot of people, and I know we talked about this roughly before about what we want to get into and whatnot, but even like the whole drama with me and Jake McKenzie.
Right.
And that's a fun touch subject because I hate it, bro. Like, I don't like it. With every bone in my body, every part of me, like when I see him at fight events, I want to walk up and punch him in the face. Like,
dude, what happened?
He knows it too. And it's because of Mike.
Okay.
So what happened to my family member was initially what started this problem between me and Jake.
I see.
So in 2022 or 2021, it was 2021, I think, because that's where the red and gold belts were. At Nationals in Niagara Falls for Waco, I was coming up the stairs, and this random gentleman, who I have no idea who he is to this date, had like a goatee and like a mustache, bald head, some white guy. I don't even know who he is. Never seen him in my life. I couldn't even tell you if I walked by him if that would be him again.
Really?
There's so many of those, right?
Sure.
Like, I've never met this guy. Walks up to me, he goes, "Hey, you're the owner of Spartan, right?" I go, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "There's these two guys with like redemption shirts on downstairs talking about some young girl and talking about your family and this and that." I'm like, "What?" Saying, "What about my family?" They're talking about the scenario that happened between Southside and my family member. I'm like, "Okay." that already pissed me right off right there, because my family's off limits to anybody. And I think that goes for every man. Nobody allows their family to be a conversation on the table that is not brought up by themselves.
Sure.
And I think that's just a respect of a line we just never cross. Like, even for me, you've seen me and Chris in face-offs and stuff, even with the social media stuff, I've never gotten disrespectful or out of line to ever disrespect family, your religion, who you are as a person, or anything.
Sure, just generally off limits.
Right? And that's I think the written rule that should always be for combat sports athletes,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed.
That problem took place. I didn't say anything because we're at a national tournament. I have kids fighting. I'm not going to worry about a problem that is not a problem to worry about right now.
Yep.
So let it go. And anyways, a couple months went by, whatever. Then I woke up to one morning to getting an Instagram notification. So a gentleman named Mike Doherty. Oh, gotta love Mike. So Mike fought some guy named Stephen LaMarche. Stephen LaMarche is a very talented Ontario fighter.
Yep.
Formerly fought in the UFC a long time.
That's right. I know who that is. Yep.
In my honest opinion, and I'm a young guy, okay? So we're going back a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Okay.
I'm at the peak of my pro fight career. I'm #1 in Canada. I just won my national title by knockout. I've beaten how many guys? I've worked my ass off to get where I'm at. This guy has not fought pro for once. He's never had a professional fight. He's on a 4-fight loss streak. And I get a tag waking up in the morning calling me out to a fight saying, we think Mike Doherty will be the next WBC champion, this and this and that. And I'm already mad about what had happened with what nationals. This was a couple months later.
Okay.
So I snapped. I posted on the comments, LOL, beating an old man does not consider yourself ready for a professional title shot.
This was on Facebook, right?
Instagram.
Okay.
Facebook gets worse.
Okay. I followed all this.
So a lot of the older dogs in the community, we should say, respectfully, obviously, because they're not bad people. Like, everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Old dog
right?
here.
Right? You know, okay, old dogs got tricks and they got lessons to teach you too. And there's a lot I've learned from a lot of these old dogs too. So I got nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
The reality comes down to, if I don't think you've earned it, and I'm not going to waste a weight cut fighting you. It's as simple as that. Like, and I've said this to Kieran, and Kieran agreed with me too. The guy we wanted to fight was Colton Bird. Colton Bird is a max Muay Thai World Champion. He's undefeated in Canada. He's never been beaten by anyone he's fought here.
Okay.
He's like 15-1 in professional, which is an amazing record.
Yep.
He's got a lot of experience that 99% of Canadians don't have.
Damn right, yeah.
Me, bro, like, where he's traveled the world, he's fought other guys international. He's beaten guys from the UK, like Sam Gowell, who has a really big name in the UK. And like guys like them. So I got offended because I'm like, this guy's lost 4 fights and he's calling me out. Like, I'll use for an example to where respect was given in the sense of a conversation and it made sense. Like Quinn Waslick, when Kieran posted off Muay Thai World Cup, Michael Fitzpatrick, #1 ranked, who should we see him fight? Quinn hadn't fought pro at that time. Quinn had a couple amateur fights. Quinn's like, I'm ready to fight him at this time. I said to Quinn, you haven't even fought pro yet. Get a couple more fights under your belt, then I'll see you soon. Quinn's like, respectfully, cool. Sounds good. Quinn went and did all of that. Quinn went and fought everybody under the sun.
That's it, man.
Like, I have love for Quinn. Like,
me too. Love that guy.
When we're supposed to fight, I'm like, yo, this is going to be a good fight. Like, Quinn's
he wants
a knockout artist. It's a sick fight. Like, and I was for it. Only shitty part is I got injured before our fight.
Right.
And that was from fighting on max. Like, my foot just healed now. So that's why I have a fight coming up in April. So I have time to train, get back in shape, do all the fun stuff fighters like to do.
That's right. Yeah.
So anyhow, Mike called me out through social media, through Redemption. So Steve Lee and all them posted this on social media. Then I see the comments from Jake and these people being like, yeah, first round KO, this, that, all this bullshit. And I'm like, yo, these guys really, like, the last time they saw me train was like 4 or 5 years ago. And they were trying to beat up on a little kid at sparring days. And they had like 40 more fights than I did at the time.
Right.
And even then, they barely beat me up. Like, I know that for a fact. So I'm like, if I fight Mike Doherty, not only am I going to beat him, I'm going to knock him out. So I told Jake that straight to his face.
Right.
Like, there's no way you think Mike's beating me. And all that stuff happened. Then Jake made this huge Instagram post. He edited some photo of mine that was one of my crew cards, and he changed it to a John and all this stuff. Tried to tell me somebody else sent it. But, bro, I have guys that do editing stuff. Because when I backfired at him months later, my guys did the editing stuff of our things when we threw shots at him.
Okay.
I did the same thing in front of him. So I already knew he was making up some BS. Guy who I had as a coach prior is one of my close friends now. We had problems, whatever. And Jake played to my weaknesses with certain people to try and get problems with me. Using my past with my issues with Mikey to try and make an issue out of something that wasn't there.
Oof.
So anyways, Jake told everyone he was going to knock me out. He was going to take my WBC title, all this stuff.
Right.
He's going to knock me out on Muay Thai World Cup. So Kieran sends me a message. He goes, "You're going to laugh when you see this." Jake posted this 2 days before I'm set to fight in Thailand. Like he was going to throw me off mentally. Like my mental game's so strong. These guys are idiots. They have no idea.
Sure.
Like,
when you hear that upbringing, man, no kidding.
Well, I came from the slums and now I drive a Lamborghini, bro. And I'm younger than all of them. Like I said to Jake, and it's not even to brag, right? Like put money aside. I could lose it all tomorrow. But the reality is the difference between me and them is I worked for everything I have. I didn't wait for a coach to give me an opportunity. I grinded since I was that young and put myself in places to get what I have.
Right.
Like Kieran said to me last night, opportunities are not dime a dozen. People don't get that. But when you're not willing to work for it, that's a reason why you don't get things. So you can't sit there and complain and trash talk someone that is willing to step up and take it.
That's it. The opportunities are everywhere. Are you paying attention?
And that's the reality. And that's why people don't understand how I'm younger than most of them, but I have more things than them.
Sure.
It's not because I'm any different from you. It's that I choose to take opportunities you weren't willing to gamble on. I'm willing to gamble my whole stake just so I can double it.
Right.
That's the reality of my life, right?
There you go.
So with Jake did all this post, whatever. I got on a phone call with him and Steve and this and that. So I talked to Steve Lee before I talked to Jake. I was on an hour and a half, 2-hour phone call with Steve. And we had a heart-to-heart because I used to really like Steve. When I was a kid, I actually gravitated towards him while I was training with Mike. I thought Steve was really good with me. So I said to Steve on the phone, I'm like, I don't know how this issue between you and I arose to begin with, but I never had a problem with you. He goes, well, you know, like the lawsuit with Mike. This, that. I said, and what did you hear about this lawsuit? So I know. Well, he took $100,000 from Mike. I said, I never took none of that. I never saw close to $100,000 in my life for him. And first of all, it's not even my money. It went to my family member, and half that went to a lawyer.
Right.
Which the lawsuit wouldn't have happened if Mike had listened to the lawyers and not did what he did. He argued on the opposite side and got himself screwed. So when judgment came and he got deemed guilty for it, which I was going after the other person, we were using Southside to get to the place I needed to get that person responsible for what they did. And it wasn't even to land on Mike. It was to land on that person.
Gotcha.
But the way that Mike played his cards put him in that position to get deemed at fault. So he didn't listen to my lawyer or his lawyer, and things went left. So that was that. Anyway, so I had this phone call with Steve. I explained all of this to him, and I'm like, look, at the end of the day, for me, respect is everything. How you talk to somebody, how you talk about somebody behind their back is everything. And that's why I say this openly on podcasts, because I would say this to Jake's face very straightforward. Right. And I have.
Sure.
Right? Like, and we'll get to the whole incident at Nationals of 2022 afterwards while I was asleep. And we'll have fun with that conversation. But my whole thing with Jake is that I was like, you don't know me. I've trained with you a couple of times. I don't even know you. You have no business with my family's name coming out of your mouth, let alone should I even be a topic of conversation. And if you have a problem, you should be directing it to me directly, not to everybody else in this community. It makes no sense.
Yep.
Like if I have an issue with you, I will call you or message you directly and have a straight one-to-one conversation.
That's it. Yeah, let's get it out right now.
Yeah, like, and if we can't come to terms or there can't be a compromise, that's cool. Like, I'm not going to like everybody. You're not going to like me either, and that's fine. But don't be going to 50 other people to try and look like a tough guy. And then when it's time to be a tough guy, not be a tough guy.
That's
right.
I
don't get it.
Right.
Like, I think that's my whole thing of like, from my past is I've seen so many guys like him that do a lot of this, but when it's time to actually do something, they don't do nothing.
Sure. Yep.
And it's not that it's that I want the tough guy role to come out and I want guys to have to fight each other in front of people and stuff like that. It's just don't cause problems if you're not that guy. Just be civil. You don't need to be an ass. Just be simple and easy, right? Like I get along with everybody till you give me a reason not to.
Sure.
That's how I look at it.
Yep. Understood.
So I had a call with Steve. We smoothed everything out. We were on the understanding of some stuff. And then I had a phone call with Jake. And I told Jake straight up the issue that I got told about Nationals, how this guy came up to me and everything. He goes, I swear I never did that, this and that. And he's like, you know, like, you can't talk about people like Mike saying he fought an old man. So I said, look, bro, at the end of the day, facts are facts. Whether you like it or not, I could care less. Like,
right.
Mike fought an old man, doesn't deserve him a title shot. I'm sorry. And the guy that he fought took the fight on like 2 weeks' notice and didn't train for it.
Right.
Like, Stefan's just game as it comes. And I think Stefan's a gangster fighter. Like, I messaged Stefan asking to come fight on our card on January because he's good and he's game. But like I said to Jake, I'm like, you can't compare that to high-level pro that's training 6 days a week, 2 times a day, and fighting the best people in their country and the world. It's not the same. They're 2 different levels.
Yep, for sure.
So that was my whole conversation. Then I got into it on Facebook with them prior to the phone calls, whatever, and led to Jake making this whole post, and he was going to knock me out and all this stuff. So like I said to Jake at the end of that phone call, maybe we'll meet each other one day when I'm done with one, and we'll have this conversation again.
All right.
The one championship rolls around. Obviously, Kieran's revealing the people in it. Kieran texted me. He's like, wait till you see the last person. You're going to love what I did for you. I'm like, okay. I see Mike Doherty's name come out.
Right.
I called Kieran. I'm like, you're a fucking G. I love you. I'm like, you literally set it up for me to get exactly what I want, which would be to go fight Mike Doherty, knock him out, and then call Jake out.
Right.
Exactly what I was planning for. Everything for one. Then I got injured.
Right.
My knee, my meniscus.
Oh, yeah.
There was no way for me to come back to be able to fight because I would have missed the first one opportunity.
Oh, I see.
So the first fight, when I was supposed to fight where Reza fought Hatter Hines, I was supposed to fight Hatter.
Okay.
So Reza was one of my old students who ended up fighting Hatter or whatever. He lost all that stuff. He took that because he saved face for our gym so that Kieran's promotion didn't get affected.
Understood.
Right. So that all happened, whatever. And Quinn ended up fighting Mike. And before Quinn walked out, I walked up to Quinn. I'm like, I will give you $200. You knock this guy out cold. Sleep him. I want him dead in the first round. Don't let him walk out of there the first round. Quinn's like, I got you. Quinn walks out, 30 seconds in, overhand right, deads him right in the middle of the ring.
That's it.
I'm standing ringside behind you, and I'm like, I'm sitting there doing this. Literally, I pulled out $200 and I'm waving it at Quinn like he's a stripper, and I'm like, I got you, bro. And yeah, so fun and jokes.
Just made himself $200. Right on.
And you know, he told me he didn't even ask for it. He's like, take it back to the gym, give it to someone to buy them new gloves, and say it's from me.
There's
so
Quinn for you.
What he did. I gave Fairtex gloves to one of the lesser well-off kids in the gym on Quinn's behalf.
Good on both you fellas. Happy. Right on.
So, like, you know, I love that type of build-up. And then, obviously, you know, a couple months later, I healed. Everything's good. I wanted to fight. So I called Kieran. I'm like, Jake McKenzie.
Yep.
What's it take? He goes, I'm all for it. He goes, but I don't see the value of fighting him in Alberta. I'm like, he won't fight me in Ontario. There's no way. Because he knows, like, too many people here we're mutually friends with. If it goes to a judge's decision and there's one more person closer to me, he's not getting it.
I see.
Or vice versa in roles. So it would be very hard for us to find a judging panel where anybody will want to take that fight. Because in Ontario, there's a lot of people that I don't like and he doesn't like. And there's people that don't like both of us.
Man, that'd be huge, man. That'd be big, though.
It would be a great fight. So he said no. So I said, okay. The road to one tournament started in the November of last year.
That's right.
In 2022. I see Jake at the tournament, whatever. We made eye contact. After all the stuff he posted, I just got back from Thailand, all that shit. It's like, okay. So let it go. Then Kieran sends him a message while I'm sitting in the fucking room. Sends him a message going, Mike wants to fight you. Are you down? And he said no. But he told everybody that he wanted to fight me. He was going to do this. He was going to do that. No, I'm not even coming on here to shame him. I'm coming on here to be honest. Because, like, I don't take kindness to people making me out to look like an ass.
Sure.
When I didn't do anything to them to begin. Right? Like, if Jake had made it all friendly and didn't try and dog my name, tag my gym, and say all this stuff about my family member like he did and all that stuff, it wouldn't be as personal and it wouldn't have been a problem. But because he did, like, I'm going to dog him as many times as I can to make him understand that, like, you don't bully people for no reason and cause problems that have nothing to do with you, and you be a jackass.
Right.
So, anyways, Kieran did that. It was fun. Kieran sent him a contract. He didn't want to sign it, but I signed it. So then opportunity second time came. I messaged him on Instagram through the Rise account. I had my assistant Brad message him, like Brad Brandon, whatever, and messaged him, and he's like, I'm not supporting anything you do. I don't want to fight you. And I read the messages. So I'm like, okay, so now I've asked you a second time to fight me. You don't want to fight me. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to chase you anymore.
Right.
Nationals at Waco come up of last year, 2022. I'm sleeping on a chair like this. I'm out cold asleep. I have my hoodie over my head. No different than if I'm sitting here relaxed right now. My little brother, who is engaged to the family member that had this problem with Southside, okay? And my little brother, Ferb, who also used to be with Southside, is sitting in front of me. So obviously he's seen everything on social media. He knows what Jake said about that family member. And this person is engaged to that family member, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff bad went down, okay? Jake from across the room goes, "Hey, Mike, let's fight at 168. I'm asleep, so I'm not even hearing him. I didn't even know he's calling my name. Then he starts yelling, "Yo, Fitzpatrick, yo, Fitzpatrick." So I open my eyes and I'm calling my name. I'm sitting beside one of my junior promoters, David Crowley.
Bad dude. Like
an OG.
You bet.
He is a bad dude, and you don't mess with his family, bro. His family and friends are off limits for everybody.
He looks so scary.
Bro, I've known him since I was 10 years old.
Is that right?
For a long time.
Shout out to Dave Crowley.
For a very long time.
Nice.
So I've known him before I knew Mikey. The only thing was Mikey and me gravitated towards each other from that one event, and it was history, right? Otherwise, I would have went to train with David. But anyhow, fast forward. So I'm sitting there. David puts his hand on my chest and he goes, "It's not worth it. You have your son at home. Don't get up. Do not say anything. Let him talk his shit. You already know what you sent him out in public." I'm like, nobody else here in this room knows it, so he's looking like he's going to dog me. I'm like, okay, I'm going to say nothing. I'll let it go. I'm going to close my eyes.
Nice words.
4 people beside me that are like standing over to my right from another gym. I don't want to say the gym name because it doesn't matter. Sure. We're on really good terms now. We've squashed out our things, and you know, they've had guys and girls fight on our cards and stuff like that. And honestly, they said it themselves. They got caught up in the moment wanting to hype a fight, and they see the difference in sides of what people have said and done, and they can see that there's more to the story than what was told to them originally. Had their cameras out filming. So my little brother, he's got really bad anger issues. Okay. We'll put it like that. Ferb is very protective of his family, especially me, because when he was a young kid, I looked out for him a lot. Okay. And he grew up in a really rough neighborhood in Scarborough and stuff. And like, you know, there's a lot of times where I've looked out for him in different ways, right?
Shout out to Ferb. I like him.
Oh, he's a great kid. Honestly, fantastic kid. One of the hardest workers I've ever met in my life.
Nice.
He didn't wait for me. He got right up, ran over to Jake and them and was like, "I'm going to fuck you guys up. You guys keep running your mouth. Enough of this." He's like, "You know as well as I do, Mike has said he'll fight you. He sent you contracts. Stop sitting here lying in front of hundreds of people, this and that." And one of Jake's teammates, Turner, turned around and goes, "Why are you getting involved?" He goes, "Why are you getting involved in this? Why are you guys ganging up on one guy like you're all a bunch of like tough guys?" So whatever, they had their whole argument. And I called for it back and like, "Go leave these guys alone. They're losers. It's not worth our time." And then Jake's like, "Yeah, you're scared." So I walked right up to Jake's face and I said to him, "I'm not scared of anything." I said, "If you want, let's stop this talking. Let's go outside right now." Right. I said, "I'm done with this whole shenanigans of Instagram, Facebook. You say this from 10 miles away across the room." I said, "Bro, where I'm from, you wouldn't live a day in your life." I said, "You would have already been dead and put in a box." Right. I said, "So I don't play this game." I said, "If you want to go and have a problem, let's go outside." Simple as that. I said, "Or you can stop talking, sit down, shut up, worry about your kids. I'll worry about mine, and we go on about our lives." Simple as that. Yep. I'm like, I'm not looking to punk you. I said, that's why I haven't said anything in person. That's why I didn't announce to everybody here, you didn't want to fight me. You won't sign a contract because you called me out. He goes, "I never called you out at 160. I want 168. I'm like, okay, cool. But you said you were going to take my title. I don't have the 168 belt. So if you couldn't make the weight, why are you calling me out then? Doesn't make sense. Yep. Oh, like, because you just look dumb now. So anyways, all that happened, whatever. Fast forward, Taylor and I got into talking, and I'm like, this guy tried to punk me. He wouldn't leave me alone. I've called him out twice now. And now in public, the third time, I admitted everything that he has a contract sent to him and he won't sign it. And I hear from somebody else that's in his close circle. So there's 2 members from his gym that left his gym and he signed up at mine. Okay. Ooh. Guys are in Calgary. It's like driving to Edmonton. That's how far away they are from me. Like an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. I know Edmonton's about 2, but.
Gotcha. Yeah. Definitely within distance.
Similar ideal, at least you get in your mind distance, right? Yep. So their members left their gym after seeing what happened at the national tournament and signed up at mine. Not only that, they also told me things that was said about me in that gym. So I lost it. Because I'm like, the lies this guy has spread out of his mouth is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's probably maybe like, best you didn't know.
I didn't waste my energy enough to punk him. Like, even this conversation now, I'm just shedding light to the truth because I know a lot of people are expecting me to talk about this anyways. Okay. So even then, I then made a huge video after a podcast with Taylor, calling him out and saying publicly, I want everybody to know that you're not game to fight me.
I remember that.
You're a punk and you run your mouth. Respectfully, you're a good fighter, an amateur. You lack pro experience. You fought on lion fight twice against no-name bums. You have no reason to be even asking for pro fights. In my considerable eyes, Mike Doherty's already ahead of you, and I'd rather fight him than fight you because even his name's better than yours. The only truth of the matter is you're respected by a few Ontario gyms because you beat guys in their past who now even at the pro level would beat you. In my opinion, like truthfully, and again, this is all my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Some people disagree with it. Some people agree with it. So I said to Jake at Nationals, the last thing I said to him was, I don't play checkers, I play chess. You started a problem, you will see how this is going to unfold. Because I said to him, I'm going to make sure that if you ever have to fight in Canada, you're going to have to fight me. That's what I said to him. Fast forward. Now we're here where we are. The WBC Ontario,
I see where this might be going.
Muay Thai World Cup promoter, and I have the biggest show through Rise of the Warrior for amateur as well. So Jake can't fight anywhere in professional in Canada unless it's against me.
Gotcha.
So Kieran and I play things very close to the chest. We're very smart on how we make decisions and move things, right? And my coach is very logical with the decisions he makes. Also because I put in a lot of work for the promotions. Like, to be honest, I grind. I want to make these shows work. I want everyone to get opportunities that I never got, like Chris never got, and things like that, right?
And for those who don't know, so I've got to spend a little bit of time with you right before events and everything. Dude, you're like an octopus. You have 8 arms out there doing everything at once. Like, I've seen you only for a short time grind. I get it. I've seen you in action, and I get it.
So, like, for me, a lot of people have delegated teams to do things. I do all the matchmaking myself. I set up all the promotional stuff myself. I do all the social media because Brad does a lot of other stuff for like the Rise stuff, but I do mostly the Muay Thai World Cup for Ontario. Man. And now I'm taking over Rise to make sure it follows suit for Muay Thai World Cup. Ooh. And on top of it, I have to do all the venue stuff, everything. Like, I handle the whole entire promotion
octopus
side to side. Exactly, right? Yep. So then I waited till Kieran announced that I was the new WBC Ontario promoter, and I am going to take over Muay Thai World Cup Ontario.
Nice.
The second that video came out, the day he posted it with me and my friend Maz, who runs MFL, who's going to do the Montreal side. Okay. I called Jake out publicly on MMA Journal Canada, and I exposed everything of the truth of the story and all of it. And Jake turned around, I want to fight him at 168. We fight on fairgrounds. We'll do 168 or 178, blah, 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 blah. And 90% of people watched his video he made and were like, so this guy's been sitting here talking shit for the last 2 years about this guy. And then when the time comes to really sign a contract, he doesn't want to fight. So I know a lot of people, because random people I don't even know, bro. Like, people I've never even met, were sending me screenshots of messages they sent to his DM, calling him a pussy and saying he doesn't want to fight.
Oh, wow.
And these are people from Alberta, people from Nova Scotia, like random gyms and things I don't even know. I've never met some of these people in my life. Right. So it tells you, like, the funny part of the story is, and again, like, I even want to apologize to Jake right now because I know I'm making him look like shit. But the whole point is like, you can't go after somebody and do what you do and then think it's not going to come back for you like that. Gotcha. So fast forward, I've gained weight to go up another weight class because I'm not fighting at 160 anymore. Okay. So I went up to 170. So I called Kieran. I'm like, it's been a couple months. I've been training at this weight. Obviously I'm not in fight shape at this weight yet, but like, I'm making it that I'm comfortable at this weight. And maybe it's time we start making some noise and getting busy again. He goes, I agree with you. I like the idea. He goes, Ontario, January 27th. You and Mackenzie's a good fight, no? I said, I'm all for it if you're running the event. I said, you want to run the event? I'll do the training. I'll come live in Alberta 3 months. We're good to go. Right. Okay. I got a call from Kieran yesterday. This guy doesn't want to fight you. This guy doesn't want to fight you. This guy doesn't want to fight you. But I talked to this one guy, and even he goes, I can't say because Kieran even messaged me when I announced that I'm doing the podcast here right now. He already said, you can't tell people what you're fighting, what you're doing, this and that. Sure. All you can say is that this one person doesn't want to fight you, and you're going to be fighting on this date. All right. So I can't give you the juicy news. Understood. Off this, but I'm sure you probably already know anyways. I don't, man. I don't. I'll message it to you because when I tell you, you're going to be like, yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Damn, I can't wait. For me to come out and want to fight again, I told Kieran this and I said this because I got tagged and not to go off topic quickly, but just to briefly, like,
No worries.
even Kyrian with the Muay Thai World Cup, they posted, who do you guys want to see in 2024? And I got tagged by a couple other gyms wanting to see me fight. You know, one guy, Stephen Jack, another guy, and this guy. And
That's right.
And I said, you know what? All these guys are talented fighters. The one thing that these coaches don't understand is I'm not wasting cutting 20 pounds to fight a guy that has nothing to offer me.
Right.
At a point where I'm at in my career, me going backwards to fight these guys only is doing them a favor.
That's right.
Me. I'm not getting paid $25,000 to fight these guys.
Right.
If I was, that'd be a different story.
Right.
Like if I'm getting one championship pay,
Sure, of course. Yeah.
and I'll take it. I'll fight anybody, no problem.
Yep.
But it has to make me money to make sense.
Yep.
One, because I have a child to take care of. I have to put my gyms on hold when I leave.
Yep.
I have to pay trainers out, this and that. I got mortgage payments, this, that, right? Because I own a couple properties and stuff like that. So for me to do that, it has to make valuable sense. I'm not 19 years old anymore, just fighting for the sake of fighting. I've already done that. I have the experience. I'm not these guys.
Right.
These guys have 10 and 15 fights and want to get that experience against higher level names. So I'd only be doing them a service. And even Kyrian said the same thing to me. He goes, it doesn't make sense for me to have you fight randoms. It would make sense for me to get you international randoms, because at that point, you're building your portfolio and your name.
Yep.
Like I was supposed to fight Jake Purdy 2 years ago for the ISK world title on Combat Fight Series in the UK. Like that makes sense.
Yes.
Doing fights like that,
that's a heck of a fight. Yeah, of course.
Fighting Jake would be more of a money fight if we were to do it in Ontario. And I said that to Kyrian yesterday because he's like, yeah, Jake said the opportunity is not worth it, blah, 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 blah. This guy doesn't want to fight. And he's not game to do it. He's doing other things with his life. He doesn't want to fight you. I said, okay. Even though it's at his weight class and everything that he said that you wanted to fight me.
Right.
I'm like, okay. And this was sent to me over a voice note. So 90% of my students all heard this voice note and were like, where was social media?
Right.
I'm like, I'm not even going to get into it. I don't want to get my bubble bursted for how much headaches this guy caused to only have it go the way that it did. But you know what? It's okay. Kyrian found me a really game opponent. You're going to love this matchup.
God,
I'm going to love this matchup. Everybody's going to love this matchup because the styles are so different. And also me going up a weight class and the height difference, the experience difference, the qualities of how we both fight. And you've called a couple of his fights. It's a very good fight. It's a good fight. Trust me when I say it. When I tell you the name off record, you're going to be like, I want to be ringside. Because even when I got told that he agreed, I was like, I got to respect him.
Wow.
Because the experience level is, I have a lot more fights than him on numbers, but he's fought some really game guys. He even fought some of my teammates. So it's a good fight. And
damn.
I think it's not going to be, I think he's a harder fight for me than Jake is, believe it or not.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to find out, man.
Yeah, like I'm excited for that. It's going to be a really good fight. So April 20th, I'll be coming back to fight in Alberta.
Nice.
Yeah, I wish it was in Ontario, but you know, like running a show and fighting at the same time, like Kyrian said, is very difficult, and I believe that to be true.
Yes, I agree.
Especially with the weight cutting, right? So it makes sense to do it. Plus, I'm gonna have my whole family and my friends come fly out and watch me fight.
That's right.
And the atmosphere in Alberta is electric, as you and I have seen at every event. The last few have been nuts.
Yeah, man. Holy cow. Hey, no kidding.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Like thousands and thousands of people. So, like,
dude, but Red Owl boxing is fun, man. That crowd gets wild in there. That's a fun place.
Because it's like Rajadamnern, like, sorry, not Rajadamnern, Channel 7, like a very tight, small stadium.
Yep.
And we pack it. Like our last one, you were there at it.
You bet.
We overcrowded it by like a couple hundred people.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, like I got in trouble by the fire marshal.
Right.
Got a $500 ticket.
Oh,
so
no.
yeah, like thank God we made so much money for it that like the ticket, we're like, okay, whatever. Like that's the worst. You're not shutting us down. We're happy.
Right.
We had people sitting on the stairs going up to the bar to find seating because we didn't have seating.
Yeah,
people had to stand at the door to watch.
That's
it was
right.
great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's why we got a way bigger venue for January 27th. Our venue, this one holds up to 3,500 people.
Oh, so okay. Beauty.
It's beautiful. This banquet hall I got, beautiful, bro. Brand new. Has the after parties right literally like 30-second walking at the hotel at the Hyatt Regency.
Nice.
Beautiful 5-star hotel. Venue is gorgeous, brand new top to bottom. Has like 3 bars throughout the whole entire thing.
Wow.
We're setting up exactly like Muay Thai World Cup. It's gonna have the huge stage. Do you remember how on the first one me and Chris fought on, the walkout.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Beauty, man. Beauty.
I have a huge setup. Everything's going to be done to the T. Like we've put a lot into this one. The fights on the card are insane. Like the matchups I've made for this one are nuts.
Is there any that you can maybe, or one or two, or one that you can let out?
I'll give you a couple. Like you saw Basil and Scott fight.
Yes. Yeah. Crazy fight,
They're
man.
doing a rematch for a WBC title.
Is that right? Hey.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's the main event.
Great fight.
Ram is coming back to fight again.
Nice.
Which is gonna be really good. He's fighting a guy named Luther from Legends, the same gym as Scott.
Okay.
Luther's really good. And Ram's fighting for a WBC belt.
Nice.
And Thomas Mandra and Max are fighting each other.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's gonna be a fight.
Really tall, lanky, very experienced, high-level fighters.
Yeah. Both.
I'm expecting a knockout.
Both have a little chin, their chin up a little bit. You know. Yeah. Perfect. That's a great fight, man.
So we have that, and then there's a couple of the West Side boys and a few other big fights.
Nice.
We have a rematch that has been in the making for almost a year.
Okay.
Aramis versus Mason Chalet.
Okay.
From London. Both are very talented. Mason fought Basil in his last fight, and he dropped Basil with an 8 count.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Aramis fought Basil before and came up short on points, but Aramis is like a dark horse in the community of Muay Thai and kickboxing in Ontario and in Canada.
He was on the last one too, right? I remember commentating him.
He's very talented. He beat Hemi actually in their recent fight.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, he's very, very talented kid. But he's underrated in a sense. Like I don't know what the right word to use is. Like he's not been seen by so many because he's not fought on so many big promotions yet. So I think this will really be his true test to coming out. Same for Mason. Like Mason's also a dark horse. Like I've seen Mason fight. He's really, really talented. That kid is 19 years old and he's like, I call it the Muay Thai gangster.
Oh yeah.
His style is so sick. He's very tall. He's very lanky. He's nasty with knees and elbows. And I love that because it's my style. Sure. So he comes and he puts it together and he's a bully, bro. I love it. Like really? I like watching the fight. So I messaged him after, because he messaged me after Rise 3 and was like, dude, I want to get on this card. His gym's affiliated with my old gym, Southside. Okay. And obviously, like I said, a lot of people understand business and personal can't mix. So when it's about the fighters in your gym getting ahead, we can put business ahead of the personal stuff and leave the personal out, right? Perfect. Like that even goes for Jake McKenzie's team. Me and Jake will never see eye to eye. Like I personally can never forgive that guy. Sure. What he put me through and the headaches and the drama and all that. Like I've said it, if he ever gave me the opportunity to stand on a parking lot with him, I'd probably kill him, to be honest. But outside of that, if he wanted to put fighters on the card and stuff, I would 100% do it without a problem. Sure. Why? Because it's not about me and him. It's about the growth of our sport in the community and people needing to get levels above where we're at. That's right. You have seen it, and I've had this conversation with you in the past. Ontario fighters, it's almost like we have a chip on our shoulders because we feel that we haven't gotten given the opportunities other fighters, like even Alberta's been given. Yeah, you know what's funny is I've mentioned this before, but every time we fought anybody, Chris McMillan fought anybody from Ontario, and he's probably fought 5, 6 guys, 7 guys. It was the only time we ever got messages from all the other gyms that were like, we fucking hate that guy. We fucking hate that guy. Kill that guy. That guy sucks. It was like, it was only from Ontario. A little weird. And Ontario has a lot of politics. It comes down with like, and again, we've dealt with this. Even Kieran's seen it a lot lately is dealing with the whole SIAM number 1 and IFMA and the WBC problems and this and that. Like, these people don't understand that putting it aside for the better, greater good for people to get opportunities is so important. Like what Kieran's done with Muay Thai World Cup in the last 6 years is insane. Yeah. A man who came from another country that had no responsibility to help our country get anywhere, took Muay Thai and put it on the map. Yep. Whether people like him or not doesn't matter. Like I know some people have animosity for certain things and all those headaches and nonsense, but honestly, he's one of the greatest people I've ever met. He changed my life completely. Yeah, mine too, man. And I've told him I'm loyal to you to 100% till the day I go. So if he asks me to do something, it's not even a question. It's a matter of when does it get done and how, right? And he knows that. And that's why I work so well with him as a student and a coach and also like business partners, this, that, and all this other stuff. Because I know he knows what he's doing and I know he's not out to screw any of us. He's out to help everyone grow as a team. Right, and he's done that with his athletes too, right? Yes. So how I put my respect on someone is seeing how they treat others because what they do to others, what they'll do to me, right? Yeah. So I can see how that is. And he's very much been a straightforward guy and always worked diligently with me and helped me with a lot. even now to this day, he's still changing my life every day.
That's it.
So
you know what it comes down for me is you're not going to find somebody as genuine as Kieran. You know,
that's true.
He's going to let you know what he thinks either way, and it's genuine. You know?
And the thing also is he doesn't look for his own benefit either.
Yep.
Like if you do well out of something and it doesn't give him something, he doesn't care. He just wants to see everybody win.
That's right.
And that is why I stand behind him on everything he does, is because his reasoning for things he does isn't only for himself, but it's for everybody in the circle. So everybody eats, everybody does well.
Yep. Easy to get on board with something like that.
We're involved in a bunch of different promotions.
Yep.
So
yep.
Like that's a big thing too for us.
So speaking of which, funny enough, he'll ask something and you'll have no problem. You'll do it immediately. Who asked who? Did you come to Kieran saying, hey, I want to be a promoter, or did he come to you?
So I actually was promoting my events, and I reached out to him on a phone call because me and him talk at least once a week. Sometimes I talk to him almost every other day.
Yep.
Especially now, because like we're in business, I'm fighting this, that. Checks in to see how I'm doing, see how I'm like. As a coach, you never really give up that responsibility of your student.
Of course.
Right? You kind of always will look in and double check and make sure. And he does that diligently, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Checks in on me more than I check in on my own fighters.
Right.
So it's like, it's kind of crazy sometimes. I'm like, shit, I gotta be more like him, you know? Then I'm also so busy and I have this, like, I don't know how he does it. Somehow, like with so many kids and a wife and gyms, and he's running a gym and another business, like, and the fight. He makes magic come. I don't understand where he gets it from. I gotta ask him because there's some special potion he's got made.
No kidding.
I want some.
You guys make me feel lazy.
Honestly, you know, like I feel lazy when I look at him because he's like, oh, I did this and today, and you're complaining about doing that. I'm like, dude, you asked me to do a lot. He's like, no. A lot is what I do. He's like, what you're doing is the simple stuff.
Right.
So I'm like, that's fair. But yeah, no, we started speaking, and after I got injured with Quinn, I was at a point in my life where I had to make decisions for a lot. And you heard my speech at the event when I was there, because I had every coach I ever worked with in that room. They had fighters competing on the card. People who just wanted to support even showed up. So it's crazy from my first coach to my last coach, because
that's cool.
If I'm going to retire, he'll be my last coach no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, and that's been a set arrangement, deal, promise, handshake, agreement, word of mouth, everything to agreement that me and him made when I left Lana to go with him entirely for fighting.
Okay.
Lana, I'm still good with. I talk to Jordan Craftis all the time. But with that being said, I have a child. I have a son who's at home, who's growing rapidly quick, as all kids do. And I don't want to miss milestones.
Yeah.
So like I said to Kieran, for me to fight now, it has to make sense. I don't want to just fight to fight, because at that point, that was the case, I'll just go get my fix and go to Thailand for 4 weeks and fight twice in a weekend.
That's
every
right.
weekend.
Priority
if I really want the fix.
Yep.
Because I just did that. I did that in September.
That's right.
I was doing that to get the rust off before I went to fight Quinn, because I hadn't fought for 8 months, 9 months.
Right.
So I went to Thailand, fought twice, won a title, and then I went and fought on Max.
Right.
Yep. So like, and those aren't small fights either. Like those are still, like, Max is a big name.
Yep.
So like, for me to do that and jump in on like a 3 weeks notice and take fights like that, and at a higher weight class, and gamble risks of getting hurt.
Yep.
Which ended up happening. But you know,
hey, take that gamble. Yep.
So yeah, I reached out to Kieran, and we were talking a couple weeks ago, and he goes, "Are you actually done? Like, is this it?" I'm like, I'm okay if I'm done now, because I've done everything I set out to accomplish. If I do more, it's almost like icing on a cake that I don't need to eat. But if I wanted to eat it, I can.
That's right. Yeah.
And he goes, I agree with you on that. Like, you have the promoting side now. You're making really good money. You're doing very well. You're taking care of your family. Like, you're taking care of your kid. You know, you're well off. Like, you got 2 gyms. Do you need to do this anymore?
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you sit with it for a couple of days, really think about what you want, and make a decision in your life. But he's like, just understand you're young only once. Once you get older, that timeline catches up with you. He's like,
yeah.
And I related it back to something you said to me a lot. Well, actually, you didn't say it to me directly, but you said it on my fight with Justin Parsons. And I watched that video while I was kindling this thought about going back again one more time, or maybe 3 more times.
Right.
Times. It all depends on how April plays out. I might be fighting 2 more times after that, maybe 6 more times. We'll see. It all depends on certain contracts and things that play out. But yeah. So basically, Kieran knows me very well that obviously I like money. Money's always a deciding factor for things. So if an opportunity to give me a lot of money comes on the table, I can better my son's life in a lot of ways.
Okay.
And I will never say no to doing that, even if that means fighting for money too and making more out of it. Right. So anyways, he sent me an opportunity, which I can't tell you, and I want to, but I can't. That's really big.
I'm still rolling through these names in my head as you're talking, man. Sorry, keep going.
Trust me, it'll make sense once I message you off topic. You're gonna be like, wow, I never thought that, but damn, does that sound sick.
Dang, okay.
So that's that. And anyway, so I said to him, look, I'll agree to fight again if you're going to train me for the full fight camp. I come and stay with you for 2-3 months. That's the agreement. And then if I win this fight and we have to go on to fight 2, 4, 6 more times, then you do the same thing again. He goes, well, training you is already inevitable. He's like, what, you think I'm going to let you just stay in Toronto and train there and then come fight? He's like, are you crazy?
Right.
He's like, I got to keep my eyes on you, make sure you're doing everything you do.
All right.
Like, okay, that's it. You know, because I hate running in the mountains out there when he brings me. Because
Right.
he sent me to Francois' house, and the whole drive up, I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I hate my life. Kill me now. Don't make me do this. I don't wanna do it. Because I'm like, training with them in the mountains is retarded. Like, people don't understand it.
It's crazy out there, hey?
I tell all the Ontario fighters every time, like, because Basil's going out there to fight. I said to his coach, Justin, who I'm close with as well. I said to Justin, like, he needs to be out there 2 weeks before the fight.
Yeah.
He goes, really? I'm like, bro, I'm telling you right now, every Ontario fighter, even when I fought Chris, everybody was like, why is this guy going 2 weeks early? Everyone's like, the elevation's not that serious. It's only like a couple 100 feet. I'm like, that a couple 100 feet, you feel it. And why I know that is because of traveling to Thailand so much. When you go to train there and fight, the air's like, it's so congested and stuff, and it's so hot, the humidity affects you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's no different than elevation. Elevation does the same thing. And it showed in all the fights. Half the Ontario fighters, the first fight, gassed out after the first round.
Yes. Yes.
I'm the only one that went 5 rounds for a whole entire fight.
Yep.
Right? Like, out of all the title fights, at least 2. So it showed to a factor I knew what I was doing. And I've explained this to a lot of the Ontario guys. When you go out there, you can't go on a day's notice and expect that you're going to perform the way you would in Ontario, because the elevation does play a factor.
Yes, it does.
So Basil, like I told him, he's going out 2 weeks earlier. He's going to set up to go to one of the gyms out there and all that stuff.
Beauty.
And training, get ready, which is great. Gives him an experience that he's never had before either. The gym getting put on the map. He's going to fight in Road to 1. He wins that. He goes on to 1FC, which is massive.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, because we have, I think the only one Ontario fighter that made it was Taylor McClathy, who's going to 1.
That's right. Yep. Correct.
So, like, it's wonderful. Like, you see the opportunities coming for all these fighters. So, anyways, Kieran and I had a conversation, made all the agreements for it. So I said, okay, come to Alberta, come for 2 months, train, we'll do it, we'll get ready, and we'll go and give it one last run.
Attaboy, right on, man. Love it.
Like, if I lose, this is it.
Yeah.
If I win, before my son was born, and Kieran knows this, I had a conversation with my mom. This is before my son was born. I said to her, I'll fight until I lose. When I lose, I'll walk away from the sport for good, and that's it. Because at that point, I'll give my life to my son. I won the WBC title, fought a bunch of times after that, won other world titles, this stuff, this, that. Got opportunities to go fight in the UK and things like that were supposed to happen. Sometimes things just don't work out.
Yep.
And then I started seeing I was missing things with my son. And then I said to Kieran, I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm at a point now where if it's going to better my son's life and give him more, I'd rather...
You can see the sacrifice.
Yeah, and he'll be able to understand that rather than me just take random fights. That's why, like, I explain to all these random Ontario guys that call me out that want to fight, that have no reason for me to fight them. Like, they don't have any money to offer me. They're not offering me world titles. They're not offering me accolades. They don't have even names that are big enough to stand in the same ring.
Right.
It's
a crack at the champ.
Yeah, it's not even an ego thing. Like, it's more of, I don't want to waste my time.
Yep.
That's how I look at it. Because I do the cost of my time, right? I can't get it back.
Of course.
So if I'm going to take time away from my son, it needs to be that time I'm taking away is to get somewhere 10 steps ahead of where I'm already at.
Yep. That only makes sense.
And that's at least for me, right?
Yep.
And Kieran understood that. That's why, like, I said to him, I'll take the hardest fights you can get me. It's not a problem. I'll fight international guys. Like, we at one point were going to fly in Sayok Pumfamang for me to fight.
Oh, yeah?
I have contacts in Thailand, and I wanted to bring them out here. Yeah. And then it came down to money. And, like, when we came and did the money costs and this and that, they were asking for way too much for what it was worth.
Yeah.
So it was like, it just didn't make sense.
Yep.
And my contact that I had directly to him was asking for a lot more because I knew he was going to take money from that deal.
Right.
Which I understood. But obviously, being a businessman, you look at asking for $20,000 to come over to fight me is not making sense of anything,
Sure.
right? It just doesn't add up.
Someone's getting paid that's probably not putting on the gloves.
Yeah, and like one fight for $20,000 that's not going to sell him 40 or 50 grand back in return. It's not worth the spending.
It's not even worth the conversation.
No, it's not. It's like when Mark fought Mark McKinnon fought Gerardo Addy.
Right.
Gerardo's following is very big.
Yep.
So Kieran's spending, an arm and a leg to get him here, and the team and the cost that his purse was and whatnot. Like, and I can't disclose those numbers, but I know what those figures were. It was a pretty penny, but he made it back. Mark sold a couple VIP tables, this, that. He ended up coming on the A side of that deal.
Yep.
Which then betters that. And also was a world title. It's not just a one single fight, right? And as a coach for Kieran getting a WBC World Champion under his record, on top of the amount of other world champions he has, it just looks great.
That's right.
So I understood.
It's an investment in yourself.
Well, I understand business, right?
Yep.
That's why he put me in the position I'm in to run it, because I get why. Like, I've had guys message the Rise page being like, "Oh, I want to fight, but I want $1,000." I'm like, okay, but are you going to sell me $3,000 to $5,000?
Right.
No. Okay. Well, why am I paying you $1,000?
Right.
Because you don't have the following for $1,000.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
It's got to benefit the promoter.
You don't have the experience fight. That's what people don't understand with this game. Everybody wants to get paid. Like, even I have a couple of guys on my team. Like, one of them's pro right now, and he's going to be fighting on my January card. He last night was like, "Hey, Mike, can we up my fight purse?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "Why?" I'm like, "Because you can sell only 20 tickets." I said, "I have to take your fight purse out of the tickets you sell." So I said, if I'm going to up your fight purse by another, $500 to $1,000,
I need asses
you
and
need
seats.
to sell me $2,000 worth of tickets. Yeah, like asses need to be in seats.
Yep.
And that's what fighters nowadays in Ontario, especially like in the UK, they understand that a lot, because I see a lot of the UK guys posting, "Get your tickets now," and they're consistently posting. Like, I sent it in the group chat for Rise 4. Guys, you need to be sharing this. You need to be posting stuff on social media about your fight. Because, one, it doesn't make me want to bring you back for the second time.
That's the big part.
Help us help you.
That's right.
That's one. And two, sponsors that I have on this event who do want to sponsor fighters don't care if you're the best fighter in the world. They care that you can make them money.
That's right.
So you want them to pay you so you can do better in your career. Sounds great. But we also need money to be coming from your sales and your people watching, so that it's worth us doing that.
That's right.
That's the business side of this.
Right.
Like, a lot of people are great fighters, but they're not great
That's half
businessmen.
of it. That's right. Being a good fighter is half of it.
So, and that's the big part, right? Like, being a good fighter is important, obviously, because if you get knockouts, you come to put on a show and people like you. Like, we'll use Jake Peacock, for example. And Jake well, because obviously he trains with
Bad man.
Jake is an electrifying fighter, and he's a bad man. Bro.
Right. It goes beyond the fighting, right? He's an electric dude.
And he brings the energy and the atmosphere to an arena.
Yep.
And honestly, if he fought alone on a card and there's 2 or 3 other fights, I still believe the stadium will be sold out the same way.
Sure. That guy's a promoter's dream.
And that's the thing. Yep. And that's why Kieran gives him anything and everything he wants.
Okay.
Why? Because that guy is game as it comes. He puts on electrifying performances. He knocks people out. And not only does he talk the talk, but he walks the walk. And he's got a support system behind him that I have not seen in a lot of fighters in a very long time.
Asses and seats.
Right?
Yep.
Like, look at his end of his walkway win. Ran out onto your VIP table.
Yeah.
Screaming his head off. And I was sitting behind the screen clapping for the dude. Because honestly,
how can you not?
His life story to where he came from to where he's at now to everything he's had to go through, And I know he doesn't even see it as a limitation with his arm, but to all of us, we have an extra hand, right? Yep. We can't justify how he does it. But
that's right.
To him, that's all he knows. In a sense, I think it almost gives him like a superpower when he fights.
Man, no kidding.
When he hits people with that shit hurts. I've heard stories where people get hit with that. They go, I didn't even see it coming.
Sure, man. Knocked out Rich Pham with a spinning back fist on that side, right? With his right arm.
Mr. Pham's on our card in January.
Hey, yeah, I like Rich, man. I'm a big fan of Rich Pham.
But I just think Jake was too good for all these guys in Ontario, to be honest. I just think Jake is a different.
It's time. It's time. You've cleaned out the pool. It's time.
Yeah, he cleaned out all of Canada, that's for sure. Yeah, and the ones he didn't get to don't want to fight him anyways. They're too scared to take the fight.
No, it's time.
So at this point, like, even in the United States, he's beaten a lot of high-level names too. He's
Yep.
done very well in line fight and everything. It's time for him to go to one.
Yep, he's right where he should be.
100%. I think Cody Jerome's the next guy too.
Yep.
I gotta give it to Cody. We never got the fight, but you never know. Sometimes the future has a funny way of doing things.
Oh boy. And you know what as well too, so easy to cheer for Cody and his people. I really like his family too, man. His family are great people. The gym, Lethbridge. Honestly, I like everybody down there, man.
Yeah, I messaged Cody after his last fight because I saw a lot of the hate online, and I'm probably going to get some backlash for what I want to say right now, but I agree with the stoppage.
Yep, I understand.
I have no problems with that stoppage.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I'll use this as a prime example, and don't hate me for what I'm going to say.
No, man.
You being the coach on the other side of a fight.
I got you.
When I fought Chris, I elbowed Chris in the back of the head once.
Yep.
But Chris turned his back on me onto the ropes.
You watch your mouth, goddammit.
I love you too. But, you know, again, in Thailand, I had just come from Thailand fighting to now coming back to a rule set that like it's so an issue with elbowing.
Yep.
For me, I'm just doing what I was taught, right? So when I see someone turn, to me, that's you're running away, you're hurt. I'm chasing that.
Yep.
So not considering the fact that like I could have killed him or hurt him really bad and actually like ended his life or career. So I get where the illegal elbows to the back of the head's an issue, but we have the saying that's in all combat sports and professional levels: protect yourself at all times.
You got it.
You know what? Like, I can understand where people viewed the fight with Cody because I've seen the video in 3 different angles. From this side, this, and this, right? I've seen it from under the rope view. I've seen it from the front view, like how we watched on Muay Thai World Cup.
Yep.
And I've seen it from a camera that was on the opposite side of the ring where the LED screen was.
That's right. Yep.
And the ones I saw on the side show clearly Cody was landing the elbows right here to the temple.
Okay. Cool.
And they were not to the back of the head.
Yep.
But the way that it was positioned, it looked like that.
Gotcha.
I know everybody else that they saw it to the back of the head. I messaged Cody and I congratulated him. I told him, like, hey, man, like, you set out what you were going to do.
Yep.
You did a great
Damn
job.
right.
Don't listen to the noise. Ignore everything and just get to your dream, bro. Because you know what? Like, from a guy who came in from a single 4-man tournament, everybody underestimated him. I got to be honest. When he went to fight Cody Laskar, I was laughing in the back room of Laskar. Like, you're going to knock this guy out cold. This guy's going to get slept by you. This isn't even going to be a fight.
Yeah.
Then he beat Laskar. Then he beat that U.S. guy, and he won
Lance
the 4-man.
Dixon. Yep.
And I was like, shit, okay. This kid's pretty game.
Yep.
Changed my opinion. Chris beat me, then Chris retired. And then 155, honestly, I just couldn't make that weight anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm surprised I made it when I fought Chris. I'm going to be very real.
Well, dude, I saw you. So I saw you at we said this before, the TBAs that summer, but you didn't know who I was yet.
I saw you too. I did.
Okay.
I remember. But again, we go back to the whole ego, pretend I didn't see you. We walk by each other and then go, oh, okay, that's who his opponent was. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, man, I was like, dude, this guy's legs are up to his armpits. Like, how is that guy going to make 154? Like, seeing you that summer, I was like, holy, he's fucking huge. So I could see how that might be tough to get down to.
Yeah, so I made 54. I passed out during the weight cut when I was going to fight Chris. And we didn't tell Kieran any of that. I walked on the scale and I looked like a zombie.
Yep.
And I got recovered, whatever, all that, but Kieran and I both said 154 was too small, so we bumped me to 60. And anyways, whatever, we both went on our ways, but me and Cody never crossed paths. Who knows? We might cross paths in one championship one day.
Right.
Who knows? There's always opportunities. Like I said, when you keep your eyes open, opportunities are dime a dozen. It's just your opportunity to take it on.
That's right.
So
that's right. Hey, speaking of which, on that fight as well, you know, about the elbows to the back of the head, I just gave my honest opinion, and it doesn't even matter. I don't even care. I like both guys. But I can tell you that those who have Thailand fighting and coaching experience, like in Thailand, said, most of them said the decision was correct. So
yeah,
I did find that interesting that those who had much more Thailand coaching fighting experience said that decision makes complete sense, and that's what should happen. So
the other thing also is this. A lot of people don't understand the one rules, and they come and take one fight and then expect fights to be like similar to real Muay Thai, where it's like the traditional whole thing.
That's right. Yep.
If you get a standing 8 count and you don't take a knee, they stop the fight.
Fight's over. Yep.
It's over.
Yep.
So if Dan had taken a knee, he would have been okay. They would have continued the fight.
Yep.
I don't agree with them continuing it because 20 unanswered shots tells me otherwise. And to be honest, a lot of people ain't going to like what I have to say, but I still think the result would have been the same. And I think it would have probably been worse had they given him the continuation, and Cody went and put an onslaught on him.
Yeah, well, then that's what referee Jason Gillane said too, right? Like maybe it was illegal, but the bottom line is I thought the fight needed to be stopped at that moment.
20 unanswered shots answers my question for it all in itself.
Yep, understood.
If you get hit 20 times at a professional level and have no response, and you're holding your arms over your head, protecting yourself like you've never fought before, and you're scared, it doesn't look good.
Yep.
To any judge, right? And that's not even to say that Dan was scared or anything like that, because Dan's game. Dan showed he can handle fire. Yep. He's a bad man, and I give it to him, man. He can fight. He's a good guy, and I have utmost respect for Dan. Like, I've had conversations with him at other fight events prior, and this and that. He's a nice, genuine dude.
Yep.
Like, I have utmost respect for him. But I don't agree that he would have won that fight.
Yep.
And any chance of it had continued or not.
I hear you.
Because I think Cody Jerome just, like I said, he's on a level where he even now at this point won't waste his time fighting just random people.
Good call.
He wanted to get the one.
That's right. That's right.
Like, and that's why, like, people were in the comments being like, oh, a rematch needs to happen. We need to let this. I even said to Cody, I'm like, there's no chance you should be giving any rematch. Go on and do your thing. You're in a different game now.
Yep.
You just made it to the big leagues.
Yep. Don't look back. Just keep looking forward.
Yeah. Let people behind you say whatever they want.
Yep.
Everybody that's behind you is going to talk.
That's right.
There's a reason why they're there and you're not.
That's right.
Right.
Me included, man. Me included. You know, I can say that as an old man now, and that's okay.
Right. We're all getting old.
Hey, man.
But, you know.
I gotta get near the end here. Speaking of family time, I got my cub downstairs, but I do have a couple questions for you. Number one, who are your 3 favorite fighters of all time and why?
3 favorite fighters. So one would be Saxer and Kitty at Young Ute. I loved his aggressive, super nasty left knee from the clinch.
Okay,
which is on my left knee from.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Okay, I see.
Yeah, so I always loved it. I thought it was just one of those weapons that you could hurt people so badly with, and it really does its job. Next one would be Sexen Aurakwamung.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I trained with Sexen as a kid. A lot of people don't know that. So my original head coach in Thailand, Kai Swit, is Sexen's original coach. So he used to bring Sexen.
So you must absolutely love the ride he's on right now.
Oh, he's doing phenomenal. I message him after every fight. I talk to him a couple times a week. Sexen and me, like, I trained with him a lot when I was a kid. So I've known Sexen since
right on, man.
14, 15 years old.
Nice.
He used to work clinch with me a lot when I was a kid. I used to get beat up by him all the time. Even though I was so much bigger than him, he used to ragdoll me.
Awesome.
But he's a really nice, he's genuine. He's got a kid. He's doing very well. I'm really happy because out of all the Thais that are making it, he gives back the most. Like, he went to Chiang Mai a couple of days ago. I messaged him about this because I have friends that are out there. I offered for volunteers to go help.
Uh-oh. Not going to lie to you. We just lost Mr. Fitzpatrick. I don't know if his phone died or what. Don't get me wrong. That was a heck of a long conversation. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll hang out here for about another minute, and we'll see if he can come back. For those who want video, bro, I'm not going to lie. I am jiggling in my chair. I got to piss so bad. I didn't think we'd be talking for almost 2 hours here. All right, guys. Might have to end it here. Michael Fitzpatrick, that was quite the conversation. Hey, my goodness. That guy knows how to sell some fights and shows. I can't wait to get the message as far as who he's fighting, and I ain't telling nobody. All right, guys. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a second part on here because I always wanted to hear and bring the sex in too. That was awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for joining the podcast. Please remember, make sure you send your Viewers of Violence Choice Award. I want KO of the Year. I want Fight of the Year. I want Fighter of the Year and Breakout Star of the Year. I know I have mine. I'll release them on the very first episode in 2024. See you later. We'll see if we can get another one here with Fitzpatrick. See you later, guys. All right, we're back. All right, man. So you were talking about Sexen being your second favorite. Yeah. By the way, great story, man. That's awesome that you actually know him personally.
Yeah. So my old trainer, Kai, actually trained him out of Sorsamai. So I posted a video on Instagram about like life of fighting, and I was hitting pads with a small, short Thai guy.
Yep.
And if you looked in the background of it, my picture of me and Chris with the WBC title and my gym name is actually in a gym in Thailand. So that gym is where Sexen originally started training.
No way.
So, yeah. So Kai Swit is like one of the top promoters in all of Hua Hin, and he's been around frig, bro. He's like in his 60s now. He's been around for a long time. We're talking like back when Sexton was a stadium fighter before he was like recognized into one or any of those things.
Yeah.
He used to like be top ranked in Lumpini, like back in the like 2010 era of like when he fought Rod Tang and Superlek and all those guys and like Sam A and them.
Yep.
So I trained with Sexton a lot as a kid out of Kai's gym. Basically, we did all the like clinching and stuff when I was a kid. So I learned my elbow style really from watching him train.
So cool.
I got a love for it by watching that. And like I said, Kiryat Young Saksurin's left knee was where I fell in love with that. So I hybrid what I like, right?
Sure. Yep.
And then my third favorite fighter is my Thai coach now, which would be Joe Hong Dong Noi.
Oh yeah, yeah. Shout out to Joe. Yeah, right on, man.
Yeah, I know Chris has even trained there too.
That's right.
We were laughing about how we both went to Hong Kong. But yeah, so when I went there, I met Joe, and Joe took everything I've learned from all the coaches before I met Kieran and hybrided everything together. He was able to help me like really hone into my style of fighting. This was actually before I met like you and I fought Chris and all that.
That's a good coach, man. That can do that.
I lived at Hong Kong for a year and 9 months, almost 2 years. I was with Joe for that. I got a lot of fights when I was in Thailand.
Wow.
Fought for national titles, stuff like that. Even go back all the time and fight there still. I was just there in September.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Another title, right? So I've known Joe for a very long time. Honestly, I've been with Joe since 2018, 2017.
Okay.
About that. After I left Southside, I was really fighting under Hong Kong for a very long time.
I see. Okay.
So I was with Joe, and Joe got me a lot of fights because in Chiang Mai there's fights every other day.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they have like so many stadiums, right? So I'd fight a lot out there, and then he'd take me around to other places, and all that stuff. So I was with Joe, and Joe spent like 2 years really honing in on my style and figuring out how to like put it all together. And a lot of my tactics and stuff that I've learned. Yeah. So fell in love with Joe's style, how he mixed it up, because he's a really like strong Muay Thai fighter. He's very different than his brother Jen.
Yep.
So when he fights, he's like only forward, doesn't back up. If he gets cut or anything, he just keeps coming forward nonstop. So that's kind of where I took that style from.
Okay.
Adapted it with what I like of the other two weapons with the elbows and my left knee. So,
yeah, man, you have a very aggressive style for sure.
Yeah, I don't like to back up because I feel you're going to hit me then. So, you know, if I go forward and I hit you, I kind of hope that just stops you from hitting me, right? So,
you know what's funny? I do the same. Well, I'm not really fighting, but even just sparring or whatever. But I grew up like just such a big pussy that I literally putting gloves, even sparring is like a fight with myself. I don't back up because I'm not a pussy. That's the only reason. Like it's not because I might get hit or I shouldn't do this. Nope. If I back up, I'm just being a pussy. Get moving.
It's funny. So like in my gym, we have sparring days all the time. So I'll bug my fighters and be like, when you back up, you're a pussy.
Yeah.
And all my guys get so mad. So they end up beating the shit out of each other in sparring.
Whoa, what are you doing?
They leave so sore and tired. Like, why did we listen to you? Why did you let you get in our head?
Not a good style.
So like, get my little enjoyment when I can.
That's it.
Right?
Egg them on. Yeah. I gotcha.
Right.
What?
So those are my three favorite fighters.
Beautiful, man. That's a great list. How about today? Who's your favorite fighter out there fighting right now?
Honestly, Nico Carrillo. He's a bad man.
You know he's gonna fight Haggerty. What's your opinion on that fight?
I'm indifferent, bro. Because see, the thing is, like, when I saw in the first round Nico getting his leg taken out by Nong O, I sat there and I was with two of my students. I'm like, wow, this fight's over. Like,
yeah, man.
If Nong O could do that to Nico, and the fight's gonna get stopped in the beginning, because I thought it was gonna be over in the first round.
Me too.
Like, close to the end.
Yep.
I thought like.
Me too, man.
And I'm like, wow, Nong O's coming back for blood for Haggerty. He's gunning for this guy. He's gonna like make a statement with this. And then Nico catches him with a left elbow, sneaky elbow off the corner.
Beautiful,
and
man.
Nong gets flat. And I'm like, wow, like this guy is something special. He's gonna be. He's a promoter's dream fighter to have because there's stories of it. And then the end of the fight, I love the like theatrics and the antics he did. He started going tick, tock, tick, tock.
Yeah.
Your time's coming, Haggerty. And I was sitting there, I'm like, yo, like that's something I would do to somebody just to mess with them for fun. So like, and he keeps it entertaining. And you know what? He's not a boring fighter. He brings a lot. And then like I saw after Haggerty commented on his own Instagram, he made a story being like, tick tock, you almost got finished. So like they're gonna be a very good, entertaining lead up.
That's right.
Both of them are gonna fit.
Yeah.
And they're both from the UK.
Yep.
Like in the sense he's from Scotland, but like, you know,
Get the idea.
All that stuff.
Yep.
It's gonna be a massive fight. I think that fight definitely, and I hope it's not gonna be in Thailand because it will not do the service it needs to.
Yeah.
That fight needs to happen in the UK.
Yep.
It needs to be one's enter into the UK by using that.
Yep.
Because if they do that, one will take over the entire European market just from that fight alone.
There you go, man.
It'll be game over.
Yep.
And with the money they have to back them, they could put it into Wembley Stadium and blow it out the park.
Man, it's going to be awesome.
Fan will come watch that fight.
And let's be real.
They should also,
go ahead.
They should also do Liam Badco and Sexton on that card as well.
Agreed.
I think they do those two fights alone. You got your main card. You don't even, honestly.
That's it. Just two fights. Yeah.
You'd be fine.
That's right.
I think they still have the whole stadium.
Yep.
I don't think they'd have a problem.
Yep.
But I also think there's the one kid who just won the Raj Demner title.
Joe Ryan.
In the UK. He's amazing. So actually, I was talking to Kieran about wanting to fight him eventually. Too,
okay.
But Joe now with the Raj Demner title and stuff like that, and got a couple. I'd have to get myself back in the mix, get a couple fights first. But he was on my radar at one point. We were talking about him and what was that other boy's name who won a WBC world title, but he lost it to George Manning. Not George Manning, sorry, George
Jarvis?
Yes, thank you, George Jarvis. So we were in conversation about fighting him as well for a middleweight world title.
I think I may just figured out who you're fighting. Of course,
I'm not fighting George.
No. But I'll keep it on my hat, but I think I might know. Anyway.
You might, but you might not. But it's not for a title this fight.
Okay.
I'll just tell you that much.
Okay.
But there's some fights on the table nonetheless. Anyways, George Jarvis was a fight I really wanted just because he's got a really big name.
Yep.
And we would have brought him out here to fight.
Okay.
And that was the idea because he's got an international following.
Yep.
Blows up the event. He gets paid. I get paid. And
good name in the UK, so lots of pay-per-view eyes.
Well, right, and that's the thing, right? So there's money to make off that. It'd be an A-side deal for Kieran to do for both parties. Yep. Everybody gets paid. We all make money. We all can sell tickets and tables, especially me. I know I can bring out 2-3 tables to Alberta, no problem.
Is that right?
That's why Kieran loves me. I'm a cash cow. Dude, if I fight in Ontario, I don't think you understand. If I put myself on a fight card in Ontario, I will sell 1,000 tickets, no problem.
Shut up and shit me.
No questions asked.
Wow.
I know that. When I fought in Ontario the last time was 2016. I sold 6 VIP tables and 400 general admission tickets.
Well, your phone will be ringing off the hook from promoters once they hear this.
Oh, that was without trying, though.
Really?
That was without trying. If I actually try and we fight on my own card, well, obviously I'm going to be making money, so I'm going to be pushing as much as I possibly can.
Sure.
And that was when I didn't own gyms. Imagine now owning gyms.
Right.
That's even more of a pool to grab, right?
Yep.
So, with that, I would do very well, which is why we were hoping to get a fight in Ontario for me on the pro side through Muay Thai World Cup. And we might. That's not off the table yet.
Okay.
It's more of we're waiting on my opponent right now if he wants to do April or if he wants to wait till May. Because with this fight, this opens up the doors for something way bigger. So I need him to agree to take this fight in either place. He's already said yes to fight me, but it's more of which date does he want. So I've left that up to him because if he gives me May, that just gives me more time. I'm cool with it. If we do April, I get to do it on the big show in Alberta, so I'm okay with it too either way.
Gotcha.
The only benefit to May is fighting in my hometown, and I will make a shit ton of money.
No kidding.
So I'm not opposed to it. So, it works hand-in-hand for all of us. So that's an opportunity in of itself. But back to Nico and Haggerty. We go off topic a little bit. I think, though, that would be a really good fight to set up the UK for one, specifically.
Yep.
I don't know how that fight will play out because it'll all depend on which Haggerty shows up. If the Haggerty who fought Rodtang shows up, Nico's going to eat him alive all day long.
Yep.
Haggerty who fought Sam A, fought Nong O shows up, I don't think Nico will win.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. Like, I always go back to... Yeah, Carrillo, when he fought like 2 fights ago versus Furkan Karabag, he didn't look that the guy that we've seen the last 2 fights, and that was only a couple fights ago. So, I mean, obviously he stomped Bong Tai and now Nongo, so maybe that eliminates that. But I see what you're saying.
I also think that his weight bullying is a big factor.
Yes. Yeah.
Because a lot of people, like if you looked at the weigh-ins of him and Nong O, it was not believable. The size difference was scary.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, it looked like a dude 2 weight classes above Nong O already.
Yeah, it really
did.
did.
I think he rehydrates the next morning after to go fight. Like,
yeah,
it's just mind-boggling. Yeah, and he blew up. And he was huge in the fight.
Yeah.
But I also know Thais don't really cut weight. They don't know how.
Yeah.
They cut like, you know, sometimes they'll cut 5 to 10 kilos and they do it the wrong way.
That's right. Yeah. We keep hearing that.
It with and stuff. Yeah. Like they just go put on a sauna suit and they'll run the whole entire day to get the weight off.
Yep.
By that point, you're already dead. So
that's
it's
right.
like, because I used to cut weight that way and it actually damaged my kidneys and stuff doing that type of stuff. So I stopped cutting weight that way and got professional help to do it.
Good.
So that was that. But yeah, I would like to see that fight. I think Liam Badko and Sexton as the co-main for that.
Yeah. Anything else is a compromise, in my opinion.
I go to the UK to watch.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
I would 100%.
Sure.
I don't know who would win between Sexton and Liam because Sexton's on an 8-fight win streak. Liam's on a loss streak right now.
Yep.
But they're both such bad dudes. Like, it's so
a perfect fight.
To fight. It would be a cherry on top to watch that. Then you get to watch Nico and Haggerty go right at each other and prove who's not.
Yep.
So
good call, man.
I think the UK has their card made for them.
No joke. Yeah, no kidding, man.
Right? So that's that.
How about your person on the podcast? If you could give a shout out to one person and one person only on this podcast, who would it be?
One person only. Probably have to shout out my mom.
Yep.
Because you know
good
what?
Idea.
You've met my mom too, so you know how crazy she is.
She's awesome.
So she's absolutely crazy. Yeah, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. That's facts.
No kidding.
So with all of her hard work and everything that she's put on hold for my life so I could get where I needed to be, I wouldn't have what I have today. So
here.
And I wouldn't
Amen.
have the opportunities to give obviously even the community, like in the position Kieran's put me in now too. If it wasn't for her believing that I could make it as a fighter and supporting all those dreams I had as a young kid, I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to meet Kieran and do what I needed to do and get where I needed to get to have what I have now. So
nice.
Yeah, really this whole train's riding because of her. So
there you go, man. And you and like I've said, I've seen you.
I put in the work. You're right.
It's crazy.
At the end of the day, it takes a team to get you where you need to go. If you go alone, you'll get there fast, but you won't get far.
Yeah, exactly. So, you'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's fun when you get to do it with the people around you, you know?
Well, I get to look back and see all the memories, right? Like, even in my gym, I have thousands of photos. You've been to both my locations.
Yes,
too.
sir.
So you see all the memorabilia of all the photos from fights, the trainings, everything. So it's like, when my time is done fighting and I get to go back, I never really stop living it because I get to see it every day. I think that's what motivates me as a gym owner too, and as a coach and also motivates my students to see the next level is, well, my coach did all this. I can get there too. There's an opportunity. It's just I have to work for it.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I like that idea behind it, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. There's a direct correlation between what they see and who they're learning from, you know? I like that.
Yeah,
good
it
call.
also shows they also have a realistic coach who's actually done the experience that he talks about, right?
Yep.
I find now
a lot of YouTube coaches out there.
Too many.
More than real coaches.
Honestly, you know what? Like, there's that saying, and again, I know we're going to go into this quickly brief, but the coaches that don't have fight experience that went into coaching. I don't necessarily think that a best coach has to be done with fight experience. I think that if they've been around the sport for so long and they understand the game, because like we'll use the guy who teaches at CSA, who taught
Kieran Fitzgibbons.
Yep. I think so. Yeah, he has no fight experience from what I've been told.
Okay,
like I could be incorrect, right? Like, and I don't know, but from what I've been told, he had zero fight experience, but he had pure killers on his team for a very long time. He had Eddie Abel. I don't remember that dude's name. Eddie Albeloso or whatever.
Abasolo. Yep.
Abasolo, yes. And he had Dream Killer Bolanos and a few other high-level world
Kevin Ross
that were with him.
Nakamoto.
Kevin Ross, exactly. Right. Yep. So like he had guys that are proof of the pudding of his coaching.
Yep.
So I can't say that
you're right.
A YouTube coach is incorrect, but I think that there's a lot of coaching out there that has not been guided correctly or from actual learning experience. Like, I don't know, in my gym, I have a couple of coaches in here who don't have more than 5 fights.
Yep.
They teach the kids classes and stuff like that. But if I ask them to go corner a fight, they'll know what they're doing.
Right.
because they've learned from me, right, over time and experience and everything. So I think it also comes down to having a great teacher to be able to teach you how to teach as well, right?
Yep.
So,
agreed.
Like, I take a lot of stuff from watching Kyrian coach too, right? Like different habits that he has in the corner that he's done with me. Like I've instilled it with my fighters too, right?
Perfect. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Take someone that's got, perfect. That's just getting rid of your own ego at that point, right? Like just, you have way more experience than me. What can I learn?
Right. And that's the thing, being open-minded and being a sponge. Like I'm a great fighter, but I'm not the best fighter, and I haven't proven that yet. So there's always something to learn. And even when you are the best, there's always somebody out there that's catching up or better than you that's coming, and you haven't met them yet.
Someone's out running right now with your picture on the wall.
Right. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was me and that was the case, especially with Ontario fighters, you never know who's got what in their basement in front of a treadmill. I wouldn't be shocked at this point. But,
flattered at this point.
Yeah, I probably would be a little bit, but I mean, it'd be a little bit weird, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, don't let me know about it. I hear you, man.
Yeah, like don't let me know. I don't want to catch you find out. That'd be a little weird. I might look at you sideways at fight events and stay 20 feet away from you.
Yeah.
Point,
security.
Right? Yeah, right? Like honestly at that point. So
awesome, man.
What are you gonna do?
Well,
But I appreciate your time.
Hey, before we're done here, anything else? Where can we find the fight card? Where can we find it on Instagram? Where can we find you on Instagram? All that stuff, man.
Absolutely. So I'll give you a quick updates quickly about Rise too. So Rise 4 is happening January 27th at Queen's Manor in Brampton.
Beauty.
Beautiful venue hall, can hold up to 4,000 people max. We're expecting a full sold out show. I've already distributed well over 2,000 tickets.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Out of 30 VIP tables, we've already sold 20.
Holy man, good for you.
We're gonna well, I'm also giving kickbacks to fighters and stuff too,
nice.
Right? I'm making sure that every fighter from kid to adult that leaves that building that night has walked out with at least some money in their hand.
Right on, man.
And that's not a fight purse. I'm not breaking rules.
Right.
For the people that are going to watch this and say I am.
Oh, they're paid. They're professional.
I'm doing what any promoter does on a way to sell more tickets and get more spectators.
Yep.
I'm doing the right thing, which should have been done a long time ago for fighters, because I never had this. I've fought on many fight events in Ontario, and I've probably made some promoter close to $20,000 off one event.
Right. Yep.
And I've seen zero.
Right.
Never got a kickback, never got a thank you, nothing. But that's okay. That's part of the game. Some people understand business, some people don't. And
times change.
Then I've gotten kickbacks on pay-per-view, everything from under the sun. So I'm trying to do the same thing. And like Kyrian, I think, had set that prime example for a lot of promoters to step it up in different ways. And fighters are starting to catch that.
Yep.
Go fight on a promotion, because I've had fighters who've competed on Rise, like specifically Rise 3, who got kickbacks for their tickets and then fought on shows weeks later and were like, dude, I sold 50 tickets like I did on your event, and the promoter didn't even thank me, didn't even give me like $100 even just to say thanks for selling me $5,000 worth of tickets.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I think like the business side of it has to go hand in hand, right, for fighters and promoters.
Yep. Because
you need them to come fight, but you also need to give them the platform. So
yeah,
Rise 4, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to look like the first Muay Thai World Cup the way we have it set up. It's going to have the whole walkout. All the lights are going to be pitch black.
Nice.
It's the full experience that I got that made me fall in love with the promotion the first time.
Right on.
And I want fighters, because I still look back at the video of my walkout from when I was fighting Chris.
Yep.
And I remember walking out to the front of that thing and the smoke came up and then it cleared and my eyes saw out. And all I could see was 2,000 to 3,000 eyes looking at me like this from the corner. And I'm like, holy shit. I've never fought in front of this many people like this before. This is wild. And this is for a world title. We're fighting for number 1. We're going, oh my God, like it sunk in.
Right.
And it hit me because I stood there for a good 5 minutes before really walking out and was like, wow, I really got here. I'm here now. Like,
yeah, finally.
Yeah, like, all those hard fights, all the hard training, everything paid off to get you where you are. Even though I came up short, it is what it is, but it was an experience nonetheless that will live with me for the rest of my life. Right?
That's it.
I get a pass on. So I want to give that to kids. I want to inspire children that at 8, 9 years old can know that, yes, it may not be the craziest amount of money right now, but we're working to get to that position.
Right.
And with one championship, Raj Damner World Series, all these big organizations coming out, Glory, all that, there is opportunity to get there.
Yep. There's a stairway there. It's not just to throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks.
No, it's not going to be an easy process like anything else. You got to get your education, you got to learn. So you're going to have to get fight experience to get to those levels. But when you do, and if you do make it and you put in the hard work and the luck is on your side, you can make a lot of money and do well.
Damn right.
You can make a job and be able to fight professional and not have to work a 9 to 5 like everybody else, right?
Yep.
And like, knock a 9 to 5, but it's some people want to just train all day and fight and make their life out of that. And I respect that.
All real fighters are looking for that instead of the 9 to 5.
And it's hard, right? And like, even Kieran and I said this before to each other. He's like, you know, you're one of those lucky guys that owns a business that can self-sustain you to be able to train twice a day. I'm like, you're very much right.
Yep.
Also costs to pay the piper, right? So
that's right.
You're going to have sacrifices and this and that to get where you need to be. So that's kind of where my whole speech went with that. But Rise 4, expecting over 2,000 plus people to be there.
Love it.
The IP tape almost sold out. Production is going to be 10 times better than any show I've ever done.
Nice.
Even the Rise Juniors one, like where we did all the lighting and everything, it's 10 times that. I hired a huge lighting company. The lighting company I hired does a lot of the big concerts back in Hong Kong and in China, and has done some major stuff for like the Maple Leafs and things like that.
Really?
Crazy. Yeah. Like I went all in on this one.
All right.
I'm shocked how well we got this done. So It's going to be a beautiful event. I think we're going to blow it out the park. Spectators, it's great. I've already given out all the tickets. My gym sold its stock. I just had to ask for more tickets now from our ticket providers.
Nice, man.
To give us
Everyone's clearly excited, hey?
Well, I mean, Ontario has a hotbed for kickboxing and Muay Thai. It's like we have so many gyms, so many fighters, so much this. Like, honestly, if we talk about numbers comparison of Alberta to here, we probably have 4 times the amount of gyms.
I agree.
Well, like honestly, about the amount of people we have to also Alberta, right?
Yep.
But when you look at Alberta shows, they sell out like 4,000 or 5,000 people, no problem.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
So Ontario's slowly getting to that with our show, and I think as time goes with Muay Thai World Cup now being involved, and I'm going to be running the side of things here, we will get there. I don't see it being far off because our last show did 1,250 to 1,500 people in that one room.
And packed, and like electric, man. The crowd really like it.
Yeah,
they're really involved.
Obviously, that venue now has been outgrown, and it's sad because I love the Red Owl group. Like, they're great people to work with.
Oh yeah.
And it was sad that I had to tell them, like, because they messaged me right when we put up a poster saying, "Oh, Rise 4 is coming." They're like, "We can't wait. We're so excited." I'm like, "Yeah,
sorry guys,
I'm not working with you guys on this one. I'll keep my junior shows with you, but that's because there are like 600 spectators at most."
Right.
So I can't do that anymore because we'll start losing customers wanting to come watch because they'll be like, "We don't have seats."
That's right.
Watch.
That's right.
There's no place to sit. So we're making it to where now Rise 4 will have all the seating available. I've done it. I have a great deal with the banquet hall that I'm working with through Queen's Manor. They've established a full setting. And then even with Muay Thai World Cup on the native reserves, we moved January 27th pro show because we wanted a bigger stadium. Because if you see the numbers we're doing now for Rise, we were going to probably do even 1,000 more than we're expecting for Rise for Muay Thai World Cup.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had people from all different sections that, like, I had some fights agreed on without saying names of who, that for me to fly someone from Alberta to fight them in Ontario, they had to minimum sell 5 tables and 200 tickets. That was an arrangement I made with them because, like I said, if you can put asses in seats, I'll get you the fights you want.
That's
no
right.
problem.
That's right.
Like, Basil's a prime example of this. Basil, and that's not the person I was talking about for flying out.
I got you.
In general.
Yep.
Basil is, and a lot of promoters are seeing it after our event, because after he fought Scott, a lot of promoters from Ontario that have small shows reached out being like, "Hey, we'll give you this. We'll give you big cuts, this, that." But loyalty is everything to how he got it. He's going into one now. So he's not even going to be fighting in Ontario anymore. And a lot of the fighters in Ontario are starting to see it, that if they lose on another card, they think they're going to get affected on the Muay Thai World Cup to get pro fights and get WBC title shots and get into the rankings.
Right.
Which in reality, like, it's true. It is. Because if you lose on a fight to somebody else, we're going to want to take that person to get them an opportunity to go bigger.
Of course.
Because they
won. Yeah.
So then now people are kind of like, well, we don't want to fight on those shows. We want to fight on yours. Because if we lose on those shows, then we don't get to go ahead.
Sure.
So, like, again, business is business, right? So it's a good thing to have that, and it keeps the standard of our shows high because we have a lot of the top fighters on our card. Like this card, we have some of the biggest names in Ontario on it. Truthfully, like you start seeing the announcements, it's gonna be crazy.
Well, and kind of like what you just said, if there's anything I can encourage, I know everybody wants on the big show, but you're not going to get there without feeling like there's only so many fights you can have on the big dance. You're going to have to go fight elsewhere and help promote those as well to help get your name out there. So your name, win or lose, right? That way you get noticed.
Yep. You just like Kieran made a post about it the other day. If you can bring asses to seats and you can do your job, we're more inclined to want to work with you because one, you'll make us money, which then gets you paid.
Yep.
And then we give you opportunities to make a big name.
Yeah. And hopefully you win.
And that's the thing. I can't fight the fight for you, but I can give you the opportunity to get there.
That's right.
Right. And like, that's the same thing for Basil. Like I told Basil and his team, because Basil's coach, Justin and Ram has been with me since I fought Chris. I've known Ram for so many years since I was a young kid. That's like my brother, and he's the godfather of my son.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So me giving the opportunity to get Basil into one was not done because of my relationship with him. It was done because that kid's beaten everybody and he earned it.
Right.
And he's shown time and time again that he can't be beaten. And he knows going in, he's fighting Abdu. He's going to fight a couple other names, which I can't say.
I know.
But I know. Oh, bro, that 4-man that he did. Oh, I want to be there ringside. But then again, I'm fighting on that card. So, I'm going to watch it from the back. So good.
I get to be ringside. I'm hoping I still have that job.
Oh, you'll be ringside, I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure Kieran's going to call you, like he always does. So it's good for that. But yeah, Rise 4, 2,000 plus expected people. Gonna be a crazy event. I'm expecting a full sold out show. I have your wonderful self, Kieran Kettle.
Yeah.
Jonathan's coming, and your fighter and coach Chris McMillan.
That's it, man. Me and him having traveled doing fight stuff for a few years. It'll be good to kick back the clock a little.
Yeah, got you guys a hotel room to share too. He's like, I don't mind rooming with Jason. I'm like, okay, good.
I've seen that guy's pecker enough times. We're good.
Oh God, I've heard that story from my coach enough times. It's like I never wanted to have to see you naked.
Yeah, there you go.
Weight cutting, bro. Sorry, man.
Yeah, exactly. How about Instagram, man? Where can we find all this good stuff?
So if you go on at Rise of the Warrior Fight Night on Instagram, you'll find the promotion. Tickets are available online, and we have hard copies with all the participating gyms involved. And then as well, we have the pay-per-view stream link that's in the bio as well. You can get general admission tickets are $60 a pop until you get to the door. Door is going to be $75.
Beauty.
Online is $60 as well right now, and then it'll be closed the day before we open the doors at the fight event. Okay,
there you go.
The last opportunity to grab that lower price before door cost will be the night before.
Nice.
And then VIP table, $1,600 for 10 people at a table, 3-course meal included.
Beauty.
Not that bad.
Yeah, good deal, man.
Yeah, take care of our spectators too, just like the fighters.
There you go.
So,
and how about yourself?
Nice way to go.
Where do we find you on Instagram? Follow you, all that good stuff.
Media. Oh, so mine is Michael P982, and then obviously the gym Spartan Striking Academy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll have updates about my fight very soon. I know Kieran's going to be posting it in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Peter,
so
can't wait to hear.
Yeah, it's going to be. I want to tell you off topic, so I'll give you a shout afterwards.
Sounds good. Sounds good, man.
It's a really good fight.
Can't wait.
Yeah, really. I'm excited, man. I want to get back in the ring. I want to be back under the big bright lights. Fighting in Max kind of gave me that little taste of being like at home because the music's so loud, the production's amazing.
Yeah,
crowd's loud, but something just didn't hit like home.
That's it.
Muay Thai World Cup just brings a different atmosphere. So
true.
I'm excited. I hope though that if my opponent does watch this podcast, that he would love to agree to fight in Ontario with me, so that I can fight in front of my hometown. That'd be nice. But Alberta's a second good home too, so everything works.
Either way, man, as long as I get to commentate. And I personally want to say I want to thank you for allowing me that privilege to commentate on your events as well, man. Honestly, I'm honored.
I say some people are born for jobs and some people develop skills for it, and then some are just born with it. It's just naturally who they are. I really think, and I've said this to Kieran, he made the best decision one day, just messaging me like, you should just try this. Yeah. I remember that conversation you had from the first show that I brought you out to do the commentating.
Yeah.
And I was like, after I witnessed you actually get to do your thing and not being a fighter on that side, just obviously being a promoter, but to be a spectator watching it, Like it was like, hey, yeah, this is where it's set. Now, the brand of Muay Thai World Cup for all production, it's funny because me and Kira were laughing about this. And it was like, it's John and you and
Fucking
him,
A,
and then the promoting side. So when he said that, it was like, even the respect you can tell Kieran has for you to hold you to a higher standard of what he wants the promotion to have with it, it's just, it's good. And you found your niche, like you found your thing of what you really can excel at, I think honestly, it'll be an amount of time till you probably get called and start doing some stuff with 1 and 2.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, it'd be sick to see. So
I
think
appreciate
you belong
the
in that too, because you have the passion for it. Like I was watching Jake Peacock and Abdul, because obviously
such
you
an
saw
idiot.
those two, bro. That fight was a banger written for it.
Yeah,
honestly,
I make myself
I'm not
cringe.
gonna lie, 'cause I know it's gonna be biased because obviously you like Jake. You're cool with Abdul as well, but Jake's one of your guys, in the sense through Chris. But yeah, like I gotta say, I really didn't see the fight ending the way it did. I really thought it was going to go to the 3rd round. Abdul would have gotten tired and Jake might have caught him.
Is that right?
And I said this to Kieran like 3 days before the fight. I'm like, if Abdul does not knock Jake out in the 1st round, he's not winning this fight.
Agreed. Yep.
100%.
Yep.
And I thought at one point he was going to catch Jake and then Jake hit him with a body kick.
Right.
And I just hear you on the thing going, oh, it's done. He's not going to get up. It's over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that passion you bring with it, a lot of commentators, like I've watched so many fights in Canada, none of them have it. It's not real. It's not there. And the fire that's driven, like I'll use my fight for WBC title as an example. The commentator, I don't know who the other guy was, but it was so dull.
Right.
So boring. It was just like, these two guys are coming to the ring, and I was just like, this is not what you want for a pro fight. Then I have you coming in to do it, and you save the day, and I'm like, all right, okay, at least Jason made me look nice.
Right.
You just talked about my past experience. You made me sound like I'm actually somebody of worth for these fights.
Right, nice.
So
I
that's
love
how
it,
it should be.
I'm so excited. I'm the biggest fight fan. This is my favorite thing I do, honestly.
And I can see that about you too, because I know how much you actually genuinely have love for this sport. And even as a coach too, like for those who haven't gotten to witness you like in action, I've seen you coach even at TBAs, even to like actual like amateur fights and stuff too. I've watched a couple of them because I've been at a couple of amateur shows in Calgary and watched your guys' team go up. Even at like the WBC, the qualifiers and stuff too,
right.
Like that. Like watching when Brooklyn fought Tyson for the WBC title.
Right.
Watching you guys all in the corner go ballistic.
Right.
So like, I see the love and passion for the sport, so it's very real. So hats off to you too, sir, for being a good coach as well as a commentator. So
I appreciate that.
Hard to find guys like,
Thanks, man.
So,
all right, man.
I got you.
Anything else before we're out of here, bro?
You got to get down to your boy and your wife and all that stuff. So
I got you.
Your family time.
Still got another 12 days with that monster before school.
Right? No, mine's in daycare right now, believe it or not. It's crazy. They have daycare over the holidays.
Nice.
I can't believe it.
Hey, man.
So I got to at least go to work.
That's right. Yeah, Christmas is done. People still got to go to work.
Right? Never stops, especially in this game. So
that's it.
That's that.
All right, man. Hey, listen.
Right,
thanks for giving up your time. Hell of a chat, bro. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
All right, man.
I look forward to seeing the edited cut when we're done with it.
You got her, buddy. Other than that, I'll see you next month.
All right, brother. I'll see you next month.
Awesome, man. Talk soon.
Bye.